Today, Jimmy Hensley, the new driver for Cale Yarborough's team, and Ricky Rudd. Row 7 is Dale Jarrett and Richard Petty. Row 8 is Greg Sachs and Bobby Hamilton, last year's Rookie of the Year. Kyle Petty starts on the inside of row 9, and the winner at Dover 3 weeks back, Harry Gant. Row 10 is Morgan Shepherd, the runner-up in the Daytona 500, and Terry Labonte. Row 11 is Stanley Smith, sophomore out of Alabama, and the 87 and 90 winner of this event, Dale Earnhardt. Row 12, Sterling Marlin and Dick Trickle. Going to row 13, from Indiana comes Charlie Glotzback, and from Wisconsin, Ted Musgrave. Row 14, Hut Strickland and Rick Mast. Row 15, that's Jim Sauter and Jeff Bodine. Row 16, from Basalt, Colorado, Wally Dallenbach and Chad Little from Washington. Row 17 is Dave Marcus and Jimmy Means. Row 18, Derek Cope and Mike Potter. Row 19, Houston, Texas, H.B. Bailey and rookie Andy Belmont. Row 20 is James Hilton and Jimmy Horton. And the provisional starter is car number 30, the car of Michael Waltrip. Let's take a look at the track analysis here. Neil Bonnet, 11-time starter on this track. This is one of those subtle places that can get you.
Yeah, it's a 2-mile racetrack with the turns are 18 degrees, the front straightaway is 12, the back is 5 degrees. But Ken, the big difference is those corner speeds and those turns. They're really flying. Purse for today,
$61,365 to win. And that total purse escalating to some $800,000. There's a $60,000 bonus if the pole winner comes home first today. Let's go to Chris Economaki with a bit more on the weather.
20 seconds ago, the sun was out. It's behind a cloud now. You can see the score has a blanket on her lap. Most cars are set up either for sunny or for cloudy weather. The sun has been in and out a dozen times here at Michigan in the last 30 minutes. When the sun is behind a cloud, you get 100 more revs out of the engine. When the track is bathed in sun, the cars slow down. Who's set up for what? And everybody is worried about their setup and the eventual weather. Back to you, Ken.
The weather is going to create an extra lap here after the 2 provisional laps, those 2 preliminary laps. They are going to take a third today to get those tires really ready to hang on.
Ken, that's probably what it is. They're going to get a little bit of heat in the tires. It's exceptionally cool, and this is the first time for the radial tire at this particular track, and they want to make sure they have it like they need it.
Our in-car cameras include Ernie Irvin in the number 4 car out of the Morgan McClure team. Dick Trickle will carry an onboard camera today, and Terry Labonte. There's Dick Trickle's number 8 from the Stavola Racing team with that camera up on the roof. One more lap and they're going to settle down and get with it today.
And Ken, here's the car number 30 of Michael Waltrip coming into the pits. You mentioned he took a provisional spot. He tried to qualify the car on Friday, lost it up in turn 3 and 4, demolished that race car, was put in the hospital, kept overnight at the hospital, and didn't even come to the racetrack yesterday. But Ben Hess was going to qualify his backup car. He crashed also in qualifying. They had to send back to North Carolina, bring this car up here, worked a good portion of the night to get this car ready to go again, but Michael Waltrip is in it, starting the race at least.
Broken nose, a lot of stitches in his face and in his knee. Here's Mike Joy.
A lot of folks were surprised at Bobby Hillen's 5th fastest qualifying speed in a car, in a team that was just formed 8 weeks ago. But if you look closely at that number 31 car, it's black with a red interior, and the engines are stamped RC. That car comes right out of the same shop as Dale Earnhardt. One of his crew members is here helping out the Martin Bahrain team. Doug Hewitt's the crew chief, and the engine that he qualified with went so fast it went right back over to the number 3 truck after qualifying. It's not in that car today, but they expect to have a good outing here.
That is a brand new car, Laughlin chassis in the number 31, Bobby Hillen, settling down to go today, the 28-year-old who had himself a victory back in 1986 at Talladega, settling down for that gentleman who originally got into racing through Bill France back in 1971. Team Ireland, number 31, that's the fastest GM car here. All right, we're settling down for a start. The issue is, can anybody contain Davey Allison as he brings that number 28 around? He told me yesterday, he said, this is the baddest engine that ever spit fire. We'll see what happens as car number 28. Davey Allison brings the field online for the start of 400 miles of competition here on CBS. Davey's already won $991,000 this season. break into turn number 1. Allison with that high line. Mark Martin trying to sneak along the inside. Makes it a 2-car Ford battle as they come out of 2 and head for speed.
Here's Kowicki ducking to the inside. He wants to pass. He picked up the draft. He might get the lead going into turn 3.
3 wide as they go to turn 3 with Alan Kowicki, winner last week at Pocono, Pennsylvania, going up on top. Here they come out of 4 to complete the first lap. Coming down out of there at about 190 miles per hour. It will be Alan Kowicki to lead the first lap.
Well, I'm sure that surprised some people. He ducked out from back there in his third starting position.
Ned, I think the big surprise is in practice nobody saw anyone past Davey Allison. And for Allen to do it in the draft early like that, it shows a chance for somebody to race with Davey early.
Back straightaway. It's Kowicki first, Davey Allison in second. Ernie Irvin trying to mix it up out there. He takes the GM car up into the 3rd spot. Maintaining 4th is Mark Martin, 5th is Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt from 20th position on the charge, trying to sort himself out. Here he goes, moving under Terry Labonte in the number 94.
Labonte has been Mr. Consistency so far this year in 6th place in the point standings.
Down the inside, Davey Allison on the charge, going to turn 1. It's Kowicki on the high side, taking it back, and here comes Ernie Irvin on the rim ride. Irvin in the yellow number 4. Oh, it's sideways. Gets it? No, he does not. He's in the wall. Hard.
He stays up on the outside. And it looks like everybody will get back him, but a tough break there for Ernie Irvin.
Had several cars spinning back around him, saw him up against the wall, and Harry Gant went down the apron, a couple more cars.
Terry Labonte spun down there. Harry Gant, the 22 car, also involved. Sterling Marlin spinning. Back to the line they come with Alan Kowicki in front. While the number 7 car leads that lap back to the stripe. That was lap 3 complete. But the story of the moment is Ernie Irvin, who had himself a 2nd place here a few years ago. Has himself a piece of the concrete. The Modesto, California campaigner who qualified 6th had moved into 3rd spot and was on the challenge when they got in trouble.
Well, I'm sure they'll make some repairs on that Chevrolet Ken and get him back out and run as many laps as he possibly can for points, but he's not going to be competitive.
No, but Ned, you'll have to agree he did one heck of a job of keeping. He could have took out probably 10 or 12 cars with him, but he kept it right up on the wall once they got hung up.
Watch here as you ride with Ernie Irvin in number 4.
He's getting on the outside, going in there outside of Davey. He's up in the higher groove.
Did they touch a little bit, he and Davey, maybe?
They did right there. And he makes one correction and gets it back.
Looks like to get together.
Now it's going to go the other way.
Yeah. He almost got it back, and then it whips back around to the right. That's the one he got away from. But right there, when he held it on the wall, he saved a lot of other race cars at that time.
Here it is again. See the back end getting loose. And one tendency of these radial tires, Neil, is that if you try to overcorrect it, it'll shoot you straight into the wall. That's exactly what happened to Michael Waltrip in qualifying. So he didn't overcorrect there, but he did correct it just enough to get it out on the wall, and as you said, keep it there.
Pressure get taken off that spoiler.
Well, it's just a case where he's just trying to correct. There he is getting out of his car, and he's in the garage. But
from Terry Labonte's viewpoint, in the number 94, let's watch it here.
Well, the first thing he saw was the smoke up ahead, and then all of a sudden he gets bumped from behind and turns around the wrong way.
Heard the back end of his car back in the inside wall.
And he has some severe damage on the back of car number 94. It is crunched on the right-hand side. Number 94 is pitting, dragging the bumper at this time.
Yeah, you can see him bringing it through the grass back out onto the racetrack, as most of the other cars have gone by, but he was able to drive it around, catch up to the pack, and is in the pits right now.
Listen to this.
Another angle of it. It did look like they got together right coming off the corner. Ernie got it out there on the outside wall, and if you look back behind, that's when the other car started stacking up a little bit. Ernie scrubbing it against the wall. The only thing to do, stay out of the line. And Labonte got hit in the rear. It might have been the 22 car. They were sliding together, Ned.
Another look of what happened to the 1991 Daytona 500 champion, Ernie Irvan.
Well, you can see Mark Martin right up there with Davey Allison, and I believe Allison and Ernie Irvan do touch just a little bit. It doesn't take much when you're coming off of the corner, and it sends Ernie's into the wall, and most of the cars get by. But when everybody puts their brakes on to avoid what's in front of them or slows down, then maybe somebody else didn't see it and they get hit. That's what caused the spins behind them.
And Ned, as you mentioned earlier too, standing in the gas off the corner there, that little field, the field with a radial, they can't hardly tell when they correct it back, and once it breaks loose, they can't get it back. The guy's driving, but the seat of the pants feel is not there on these radials like they had before.
Let's do it in slow motion for just a moment as we get one lap to go before they're going to turn them loose once again. And Neil, take us through this. Tell us what a driver's thinking about when all of this is breaking loose around him.
Let's get him going here. We'll see what they've got when you get down in the corner here. Here he is. He's on the outside of Davey. He's concerned about staying up behind the car of Alan Kawicki in front of him. He's standing in the gas. You heard him get in the gas a while ago, and he's driving the car, but all of a sudden he's going to get a little bit of a tap right here coming off the corner. Him and Davey got together for whatever the reason, and the back of the car is going to come around. Okay, he's correcting to the right. You see that the driver's instinct is to correct right. He comes back left. He knows the thing's getting away from him now. He's got to get it back over the right. When he gets it on the wall, he holds it over. But right now, all he's concerned about is, hey, is this thing torn up too bad? They'll slide down that wall, and the first thing you see him do is re-crank it again and get in the pit. So even though it's torn in a million pieces, he's concerned about getting back in the race and finish and not how bad it's damaged.
Chris Economaki is standing by with Ernie Irvan.
Ernie, it's a tough way to start the race. How did you get into the trouble back there?
Well, I drove in on the outside of the 28 car, and I don't know if he got loose or what. Got in my quarter pound. I had her sideways off too. Thought I could maybe save her and just didn't quite get her gathered.
The right side of the car really looks torn up. Will they be able to get it back on the track and where it'll run for you?
I think so. You know, we don't have no chance to win the race, but I think the car, we'll get it back out there for sure.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay, better luck next time. There you have it from the man in that first accident here today in Michigan. Back to you, Ken.
Coming down for a restart with 5 laps complete. At the stripe, Alan Kawicki brings them across. Call that 6. Clock goes up a lap. 6 laps complete. They only had 1 caution in the entire 400 last year.
And here are some of those cars that were involved in the accident. Harry Gant and Terry Labonte. Gant was one of the fastest cars in practice yesterday afternoon. He really felt he had a good race car for today, but I'm sure that the damage that's been done to his car is going to affect his performance.
Well, the one that's really damaged is the 94. That's badly torn up on the tail section, right rear.
And aerodynamics play a big part here at this racetrack as fast as they run.
Meanwhile, up in front, Kawicki leads with Davey Allison in second, and Rusty Wallace scooting down to the inside. The black number 2 being challenged by Mark Martin on the outside, and it's Martin, the number 6 car, going into third. Wallace deployed now fourth. Terry Labonte's car as he works with Michael Waltrip. The injured Michael Waltrip making a run, pulling up on James Hilton out here at number 48. That Veltro car was built back in 1985 for Bobby Allison, the old Stavola cars.
Oh boy, Terry got up there and he had nowhere to go. He just had to run up there and slow down.
Battled for 31st back there.
And that was quite a gesture. He's motioning for James Hilton to move over. You saw Michael throw his fist up. He's wanting a little bit of racing room.
Meanwhile, for the lead, Davey Allison going at it. Right with him comes Alan Kawicki. Mark Martin back there in third. Then you see Wallace, the black number 2, in fourth. Working lap number 9 at the present time with Kawicki trying to make it 2 in a row after that brilliant victory last Sunday on the 2.5 mile at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Greenfield, Wisconsin. Alan Kawicki being challenged on the inside. Here comes Davey Allison, who says this car, ooh, they almost touch again in 4.
Yeah, Allen's car seems to be going a little bit high in the turns. I don't know if it's pushing or what, making it right up into the turns. Of course, he's able to get a good run off the turns.
Ed, what I was concerned about was looking at Davey Allison's car. The right front tire is solid yellow where it got into the 4 car, and it's easy to bend that front suspension up, and I was kind of concerned to see if his car was as good as it was when the race started.
Notice back there in pit spot is number 11, Bill Elliott. Meanwhile, watch Earnhardt in the number 3 as he continues his charge, moving up through the field.
Well, he's got a couple of pennies to deal with there now. That's Richard in front and Kyle on the outside. And here comes Morgan Shepherd making it 3 abreast going into the turn. Can they make it? Kyle backs off. That was a smart thing to do. Shepherd might get the position, but Kyle Petty didn't want to be on that outside going into that turn 3 wide.
Battle for 13th right here.
Boy, that's what's so good about this racetrack. These drivers can get here and really take charge and run their race cars anywhere they want to.
Notice that Richard Petty comes up into 12th position. It's a good qualifying spot for today's race. Right now, the number 43 looking strong. So we've completed 10 laps. 10 are down. Meanwhile, in front, Kawicki stays there. Martin now goes to 2nd, and Davey Allison into 3rd.
Mr. Wallace is 4th. 5th place is Bill Evans.
Right behind him comes Brett Bodine in 6th. Ricky Rudd is in 7th. Waltrip to 8th. Ken Schrader running 9th. And it's Bobby Hillen, who started in 5th position in that Chevrolet back now to 10th position. He's dropped back 5. CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 will continue after this message and a word from your local station. With our live coverage here at Michigan International Speedway this afternoon, where we're working lap number 15. Alan Kawicki out in front there. You see Mark Martin. Brewstein in 2nd place, and right behind him, Davey Allison, the 28, is 3rd. Further back in the field, here's Dale Earnhardt making a run. That's the battle for 12th position. Sachs in the number 41. The yellow car on the outside is in 12th, and trying to take it away right now is Earnhardt. Remember, he started well back, 22nd starting position. The number 21 car is Morgan Shepherd, who was also on the hunt here this afternoon, having come from 19th.
That's the Wood Brothers car. Earnhardt makes the move on the inside of Greg Sachs going into turn 3. And here's Mark Martin really working on Alan Kawicki for the lead.
He's working on that steering wheel, Ned. Did you see the looseness in his car at the back end? Broke a little bit on Mark, but he's hustling that thing. He's trying to take the lead.
Ford 1st through 3rd. Pontiac in 4th. Bill Elliott's Ford in 5th. In Alan Kawicki's pit is Mike Joy.
Again, you were wondering about Kawicki's choice of line through the corners. His crew chief, Paul Andrews, told me that the car is comfortable up there in the middle and high part of the racetrack. He hadn't been under any pressure to put it down on the bottom, so he's running it where it works well. Also, Harry Gant received only minor cosmetic damage back in that accident. Gant has passed a dozen cars since they dropped the green flag again.
From the rear, he's back to 25th position right now, Mike. Here comes Davey Allison again, scooting down the inside, defending champion in this race. Last year, he and Hut Strickland battled with about 12 laps to go before Davey pulled away. Got himself a pretty fair advantage.
But you see, when Davey got to that turn, he did get around Mark Martin, but he didn't really have the line that he needed going into that turn. Here comes Martin back up on the outside. Does he have room? I guess he did. He made the pass.
That's what's so good about this racetrack. You'll think on a lot of tracks you take that preferred line away and the guy doesn't have any advantage to come back. But this place you just hold the throttle down, drive right back up beside him.
Of course, when you do it on the outside, you hope that he doesn't drift up there and put you in the wall.
Like we saw a while ago a little bit. Is Rusty Wallace. He ran good in practice yesterday. But also that car, he ran good at this racetrack. Penske's car owner owns this track right here, and he's really needing to run good at this particular race.
Only GM car in the top 5 right now is Rusty Wallace. Those other 4 you see there on the screen are all Fords.
He has been Mr. Unlucky all season long. Name any gremlin you can think of, and it's grabbed him at one time or another. Right now, Wallace is looking good, a former winner here.
Now, Pontiac has not won this year. The best finish was Rusty finished 2nd at North Wilkesboro earlier in the year.
To 5th, just about a second apart. Now there's Hut Strickland, and what a move he's been making. Hut's coming back on today from 27th up to 16th. The best finish he's recorded is right here on this track in the Bobby Allison car a year ago. Looking good right now. And closing in on Morgan Shepherd. Working the 20th lap right now with Alan Kawicki's number 7 continuing on the advantage. Mark Martin in 2nd, Davey Allison again falling back to 3rd. Dick Trickle has our telemetry on board today. There's your front three, and there you see Wallace and Elliott hanging right in there, tough in number 11, 5th place. And now Waltrip has taken over in 6th. Here's Dick Trickle's car number 8 from the Stavola Racing Team, currently 12th in the standings. He had been 10th. Let's get an idea about going around this track thanks to this telemetry.
Well, you can see the RPMs picked up there to 8,300. And then, of course, as he goes through the turns, it backs off 6,200. So that's about a difference of 2,100. Neil, I wouldn't have thought that you'd lose that many RPMs in the turns.
No, Ned, but he's off the pace just a little bit. He's not quite as quick as some of the other cars, and that's what they'll have to work on the pit stops. You don't want that much RPM drop in the corner here. We saw 83 down the front straightaway. We saw about 8,000 or 81 down the back. The front straightaway is good for about 200 more RPM, and that can create problems during the race. You steer it for the back straightaway, you're fine. The front straightaway, you can blow the motors up, so they have to have a compromise. But we talk about 200 more RPM up the front straightaway. Here he comes again through this area. High 180-mile-an-hour range. 190 is good numbers down through here. Got a draft off those cars in front of him and turn some numbers on that end.
Running in 24th position now. There's the 15 car, the Bud Moore car, just directly in front of him with Jeff Bodine in the controls.
Did you notice that one little bit touch of brake? We watched the lap, and we saw him touch a brake one time. They're so fast they don't need to brake to a lot of times.
And the turns are wide, and they can drift in the turn. Here's a battle for the lead, Ken.
Yes, indeed. It's Mark Martin challenging once again. Martin getting ambitious as he goes back after Kowicki another time as the 3 Fords continue up in those front spots. Rusty Wallace staying right there in 4th. Here's another challenge coming again out of turn 2.
When they get side by side, Ken, this is the perfect opportunity for the 3rd place guy to make the move 3 abreast. We saw it happen on the first lap, and it usually opens the door for somebody to do it again.
It's Mark Martin blasting down the inside up into turn number 3, the Batesville, Arkansas campaigner, who started outside of the front row.
And here comes Davey Allison taking Alan Kowicki as well. So Kowicki goes from 1st to 3rd on that half a lap.
Mark Martin, who had a 3rd last week at Pocono in the 2.5 mile, looking stout at this moment.
I tell you, somebody is glad to see them battle. Every time they do that, you see Rusty Wallace creep up into the picture. Just a little bit of shuffling in the front, he's able to close in on him. He's hoping for some side-by-side racing up in front.
Opens up a lot of air up there when 2 cars are running side by side. And drafting definitely is effective here.
Coming up on 24 laps complete as Mark Martin seeks his 2nd win of the season. Earlier, picked one off at Rockingham. There you see him up in front. Now it's Davey Allison sitting in the catbird seat. Those front 5 have drawn away from the rest of the field. Pretty good advantage over the rest of them as they thunder down into turn number 1.
They got about 300 yards on Darrell Waltrip, who has moved up to the 6th position.
And it's Ricky Rudd now in 7th. Schrader is 8th. Brett Bodine is in 9th. Dale Jarrett has come to 10th. Earnhardt finds himself now in 11th.
Starting to lap some of the slower cars. With the big numbers the front guys are turning. They're turning some fast laps right now.
Here's Harry Gant in the number 33. Going to get himself sorted out from that incident early on, which took Urban's number 4 out of the race.
And he's knocked off over half of the field. He's up to about 18th position now and still moving forward. He goes around Greg Sachs there, so apparently it did not hurt his car too much.
Sometimes overcoming adversity seems to help. He's getting taken back for the moment as he fights with Sachs here. Remember, Urban won Sears Point after he got a black flag at the start and had to come from dead last and won it. Harry Gant always comes on strong in those last few laps. So for the moment, Mark Martin stays in front. Davey Allison in 2nd. Alan Kowicki in 3rd. It's a Ford show at the moment here in the Michigan 400. At the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway, we're working lap number 30 of 200 to be run today. For the moment, Mark Martin has the advantage over Davey Allison, Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, and Alan Kowicki in the top 5. Darrell Waltrip just back in 6th spot. Here you see the work continuing on Ernie Urban's car number 4. Let's take a look at a piece of tape just moments ago as they were working on that number 4 down there.
Yeah, I got brakes, Robert, but it's like the pedals jammed against the floorboard, but it's sticking way up. Well, how many brakes we got hooked up?
Of course, he's wondering how many wheels were hooked up to the brakes. I'm sure they've got all 4 of them, but it doesn't probably feel that way to him.
Now he's raring to go. If they'll just give him 1 break, that's all he wants. So that's a frustrating feeling sitting there. They need to get out there for points, and he's ready to go, and they're just having to patch that thing back together as best possible.
Here's Stanley Smith. Smoke coming from his car. He was the second round fastest qualifier here yesterday. Started in 21st position. Looks like he's headed to the garage. Andy Belmont in for an unscheduled pit stop as well.
Another one of those dirt modified racers out of the Pennsylvania area. Andy Belmont, a rookie in the Winston Cup race this year. A little battle developing up here for 4th at the present time. And 5th and 6th seems to be in question.
Well, the front 3 cars have pulled away from the Fords of Mark Martin, Davey Allison, and Alan Kowicki have pulled away from Bill Elliott. Now has taken over 4th, dropped Rusty Wallace back to 5th, and Darrell Waltrip has caught Rusty Wallace.
It looks like Darrell is running a real high line around the racetrack. You know, a few years back, the guys used to run up high. And 1 and 2 here, now just say he gets under, but in 3 and 4, he ran a real, 1-2 ran a real high line. He got a run on Rusty. He cleared him right here. Now he's got Bill Elliott sitting in front of him for 4th place.
Good run for Waltrip today. He's been 2nd in this 400 twice. Never won it. 82 right behind Cale, and 85 Bill Elliott was dominating. Here's Darrell Waltrip to 17, moving away now from Rusty Wallace.
That's that high line I was talking about. Everybody's running low in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And he runs high in 1 and 2, and then was able to get in the bottom also. But he's really getting a lot of momentum off the corner down the back straightaway.
That battle is about 4 seconds behind the leaders: Mark Martin, Davey Allison, Alan Kowicki.
Yeah, it probably won't take long for these scores to pass the word that Darrell's running a little bit higher, and then some of the other guys start moving those positions.
Yeah, the spotters will certainly take a look at that and notify their drivers. And Davey Allison has taken over the lead going into turn 1 as we watch this battle.
Let's go to Mike Joy.
And that puts a smile on Larry McReynolds' face. He's Davey's crew chief. That little bump with Ernie Irvin doesn't seem to have hurt him at all.
I really couldn't
Hey, that little bump didn't seem to have hurt him with Ernie.
No, it really didn't. He said everything was okay. He didn't get hit in the wheel. Right now, we got a little bit of a push from the center out. We got a pit in about 10 laps. We're probably going to take a turnabout out. See what happens. There's an awful lot of strong cars out there today, though.
The sun comes and goes. How's that going to change his race car?
Well, the temperature is really not changing, so I don't know if it really is going to affect it. You know, the car seems to have the same characteristics it did yesterday, real overcast, so I can't say it's going to play a big part unless the temperature really goes up or goes down.
So they're playing a pat hand.
There's Ernie Irvin coming back on the track after 23 minutes, 42 seconds on pit road. Ernie Irvin pulls back out after that problem up in turn number 2.
I'll tell you what's unique after going out like that, Ken. You go out and the guys will say, "Oh, just go out there and ride slow and get points." But that thing was torn all to pieces. He'll be riding slow at about 150 miles an hour to stay on the racetrack. Up to speed. He's not up to speed yet, but he'll feel it out. And if it gets to feel like he's capable, he'll step the pace on up on its own.
Important for him. He stays 10th in points as he came into today's race. The question is, can he stay there when this one's over? It's going to be tough unless there's a high attrition with the points so close among those top 15. Take a look at number 4. Badly beaten up. Let's listen to Ernie Irvin as he first came back out on the track communicating to Tony Glover and company.
Yeah, I don't really think that'll matter much right now. Probably not, but it's my job to tell you that. Yeah, I know.
I think he just got a call from his spotter saying the leaders were coming by. The leaders are coming by on past him, and they always do that. They tell you when the leaders are coming up where you know to give everybody room. And I think he told him, he said, that's my job to tell him. He probably wondered why he was telling him so many laps down.
31 laps down, the distance back that car number 4 is. Let's take a look at a running order to give you an idea of where your favorite is in the field, as it continues to be Davey Allison, last year's winner, out in front with Kowicki right there and Mark Martin in the top 3. Looking further back through the field, see Brett Bodine, Kyle Petty now finds himself up in that 12th spot, and Earnhardt has come into 11th. Harry Gantz making a great run here, Ned.
Yeah, he's running right on the back bumper of Kyle Petty. In fact, he's moving under him going into turn 3. You can see Jeff Bodine back in the field there. Richard Petty's dropped back to 22nd. He was up there in the top 15 for a while. Terry Labonte Labonte's still back there. We mentioned that a lot of damage to his car in that wreck, so it's keeping him back there. Sterling Marlin also had a good bit of damage in the wreck.
If you're just joining us, one caution early in the going when Ernie Irvin got one stuffed in the wall in turn number 2. He was in for 31 laps for repairs. Thus far, it's been the only caution on the day as they worked the 38 of 200 laps.
We just heard Larry McReynolds say it wouldn't be long before they had to pit for fuel. We're going to see a little bit straighter hand on the fuel now. As I walked by the NASCAR trailer this week, Ned, I know you saw them also. There were several fuel cells sitting on the ground with all the bladders out of it and everything. So they're really checking these things. And I think you're going to see these guys not be able to stretch the mileage as far as they have in the past. They're really policing that area.
They're checking them very, very closely, no doubt about it. In fact, they have a template now for the fuel cells.
Dale Jarrett's number 18 is running in 10th, and the closing ground is the Earnhardt car right behind it. There's your leader, Davey Allison, staying in front here at the Michigan 400. Next weekend, the PGA Tour travels to the Westchester Country Club in Rye, New York for the Buick Classic. Scheduled to compete are Dennis Love III, John Daly, and last year's champion Bill Andre. Be with us on CBS next week for the Buick Classic.
Ken, pit stops are beginning to happen here at the Michigan International Speedway. Ricky Rudd has already been in. Ken Schrader's in right now. So is Greg Sachs and Ted Musgrave. Dale Jarrett came in a moment ago. Apparently didn't have brakes on his Chevrolet and had to continue on around the racetrack.
Working the 43rd lap, as again we're watching Kyle Petty come on to pit road. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Bill Deese is sitting on the wall, and Bill got bumped into when Dale Jarrett tried to come in and come to a stop. He's the tire carrier and was coming around to do his job. He's a little bit shaken. Gary Nelson of NASCAR talking to him now, wants him to go to the care center and get checked out, but he's shaken but stirred. He's okay.
From the Stanley Smith crew. Leader is on pit road. Davey Allison eases car number 28 in. This, as the field works, lap 44. Davey Allison on pit road, giving Alan Kowicki first, Mark Martin second, and Darrell Waltrip third. And coming in very slowly is Dale Jarrett, trying to get the Joe Gibbs car flowed, and he's taking extra time. There's Davey Allison's number 28, the leader on pit road.
While this is happening, the 94 car went behind the wall. He blew going down the back straightaway, Terry Labonte.
Remember, Labonte was in that incident. He spun. He wasn't in it, but he spun to avoid the incident over in turn 2 at the outset of the event. He has just gone back behind the wall, the engine expiring.
Well, there's Dale Jarrett finally creeping into his pits. He came into his pits at a normal speed. Ricky Rudd was pitting right in front of him, and he saw that he wasn't going to get stopped. So it was either run over 2 or 3 men right directly in front of him, pin them into Ricky Rudd's car, or either make a sharp right. He hit the tire carrier, and fortunately he's apparently okay. But it was a good quick move on his part there to maybe keep from causing a very major situation.
Earnhardt is on pit road. Rusty Wallace. Here's Mike Joy.
Mark Martin getting service from Steve Hamil's crew. Tony Martin with the car in the air. Chris Hussey and Jerry Kenner, rather Steve Hamil doing the tires. Dwayne Wood hasn't fueled, and he's away.
You know, Mike, one thing that's interesting, we're only seeing them change 2 tires down there today. They're just doing the right side tires. Normally, they'll change 4 tires when they come in, Neil.
That must be a compliment to the radios. They're having good mileage with them, and they're real fast even after they get miles on them.
Alan Kowicki, who had inherited first place, now on pit road in car number 7. At lap 45, here is Kowicki. Last week's winner at Pocono on pit road. They say there's a smashed windshield on Dale Jarrett's car.
Well, that tire could have flown up there and hit it when he hit the tire carrier. There was a lot of commotion there when it happened. I just happened to be looking straight at it, and it was about to be a very, very serious situation.
14 and 2/10 seconds pit stop for fuel and 2 tires on Alan Kowicki as he comes back on the track.
There comes Darrell Waltrip in, and he had really been gaining, Nate, as you mentioned. He's really pulling up on the leaders. He had the fastest car on the track before this set of stops.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question to what he was the fastest man out there.
And was the leader after Kowicki had come on pit road.
So he got himself 5 bonus points for leading a lap.
Remember that speed limit on pit road today is 55 miles an hour. 70 last week up in Pocono, right?
Yeah, I think so.
If we ever see one we need, it's just like what happened. Containing it, keeping that speed down. When there is a problem, even though the guy was bumped with the tires, it's not real serious. You come in there 120 miles an hour, you're going to hurt somebody.
In his 18th Michigan 400, here's Waltrip coming back on the track. And Elliott, they had run it a little lean.
Yep, I think he stayed out there too long. He had taken the lead in the Junior Johnson car, but he might have stretched it a little too far to get those 5 bonus points. Now, this team normally gets as good or better than gas mileage than anyone, but maybe not here today.
Boy, of all places to run out, he ran out on the back straightaway, and he's going so slow, he's going to lose a lot of time here.
4-time 400 winner.
Yeah, he can't even keep up the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit coming down through there.
Harry Gant now gets those 5 bonus points for leading. Car number 33 jumps into the advantage, and there's Mr. Economy run.
Yeah, if anybody exceeds Elliott in gas mileage, it's Harry Gant. Of course, he won at Dover as a result of good gas mileage.
And remember, he's come all the way from the rear in this one. The amazing 52-year-old Harry Gant.
I tell you, Leo Jackson and their group that build the motors for that car, they're known for a lot of power, and I guess they're getting to be the champs of fuel mileage also.
Car number 11 came in, got fuel, and then wouldn't crank for a moment. Now it's fired and it's going back out. Here's your leader, 33, Harry Gant, for the moment, has this race. We believe the 28 is now being shown. There's a second-place car, Davey Allison.
As we watch Elliott go out there, what really hurts one of these motors is the way they have to re-crank it with that is put ether in it, just like in a diesel engine. And when they put that ether with the kind of compression these motors have, sometimes they damage the motors. The engine guy hates to see you get that can of ether out, and they had to do it to crank that car.
Remember that Gant was involved in that incident at lap 5, so he was on pit road and they topped the tank.
Coming in now.
Here he comes in now.
Dave Marcus also pitting just in front of him.
So that's a good point, Ken. It did allow him to run those few extra laps and could have possibly caught a caution. He didn't in this case, but there's always that possibility.
Working lap 50 of 200 at the present time as Gant comes in. He had been the leader.
No, excuse me, not only that, they're showing the 22 car of Sterling Marlin in 3rd place, and he was in that early accident running to review speed, and he's in good shape if they have a caution.
Well, but he just came into the pits a lap ago, so he had stretched his as a result of topping off when he came in at that time. So I think even those cars that made those pit stops then have had to come in.
New Jersey's great dirt modified driver, Jimmy Horton, just pitted and came back out. And here comes Gant back onto the track as Davey Allison in 1st place. Let's go to Chris Economaki with the new pit rules.
Well, you know, the double nickel, the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on pit road isn't all the regulations that have to be observed by pitmen. Here's NASCAR's chart. If the front end gets over the box, you must back up before any work is done or a 1-lap penalty. If the right front tire is outside the box, you must back up before any work is done or incur a 1-lap penalty. Going in this way, there's no penalty. Over here, if the 2 tires outside the box, you must go around, or if work is done, incur a 1-lap penalty. They've organized the pits to a high degree here in the interest of safety. Back to you, Ken.
That's back in the garage area. NASCAR
on their bulletin board
together, puts it up on the bulletin board, and lets folks know what the penalties are going to be. And they've got it worked out pretty well.
Yes, they have.
They make sure they post that thing in a place where you can say, I didn't see that. They make sure you see it every week.
There's Davey Allison in front, Mark Martin in 2nd. How are pits going? We're up to the midpoint of the season. This is the 14th race in Neil Bond. How's Gary Nelson done? What's the report card on him?
I tell you what, I think everybody was waiting for Gary to stump his toe, because at Daytona, you know, he was really popping the whip and making them straighten the cars out. And in past years, I'd seen him at Daytona, make them fit the templates, make them do this. But 5 or 6 races into the season, you'd see him back, you know, kind of loosening back up. Gary Nelson has not loosened up. He's got the respect of these car owners and these crew chiefs, and he's not biased. He's just making everybody bite the bullet and fix them right, and I think they respect him for that. The cars are straighter than I've ever seen them this late in the season, and there's not a lot of rumbling. Everybody's doing the same amount of work, and they respect him for policing this so strongly.
Interval between 1st and 2nd. We show it as 11 and 2/10 seconds at the present time as Davey Allison stays up in front.
This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
After 104 miles here, we had 5 different leaders. They've swapped that lead on 10 occasions. They're averaging 153 miles an hour. There's just been that one caution period, and 3 cars are on the attrition rack at the present time. 3 cars out of the race. H.B. Bailey out of Houston, Texas. Stan Smith's car lost an engine, and Jim Sauter, the Wisconsin campaigner.
And Terry Labonte, now you can add to that, and also the Rookie of the Year last year, car number 68, Bobby Hamilton, has gone behind the walls.
They haven't put those up as for sure, but they're back there, and it looks like they are done, so put that count up to 5. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, the man who made that decision on pit stops, whether it was 2 or 4 tires for almost the whole field, was Larry McReynolds. And he didn't make that decision until Davey was right in front of him. You agonized over that decision for 2 tires or 4.
Well, yeah, we debated about it, and then what I was thinking, I knew there was some cars out there that could run 7 or 8 laps further than we could. We only changed 2. We come out on the lead lap still if the caution comes out. We changed 4. Caution comes out, then we're sitting there a lap down. So wear looks good on the Goodyear tire here, so I think we'll be good for change 4 about lap 85, 86.
So when the leader makes only 2 tires, that sets the tone for the rest of pit road. And anybody else who wants to get 4 may find themselves a lap down.
Already going a lap down is the number 11, Bill Elliott, and you see Bodine's number 15, Jeff Bodine, about to go another lap down to Davey Allison in the car number 28. And another guy that could be in trouble here is Earnhardt. He's only about 5 seconds out in front of this car number 28 at the present time. So Davey Allison, who said earlier that this is the best car we've ever had, he told me yesterday, said no question about it. It'll be hard to match the record that the old car 007 had. It had that license number on it from that team, but he said this one can't do it. Doing it, it is right now.
You know, just before this pit stop, they were all bunched up. Davey certainly had a good pit stop, but he must have made good time getting in and out of the pits. And not only that, we heard Larry McReynolds tell Mike Joy they were going to take a round of bite out of the car. If they were a little bit pushy earlier and they got their round out, he's checking out on them. Now, whatever they did to that car has really improved on it. He's just pulling away from them.
They're about to put a lap on Jeff Bodine. Bodine currently being shown in the...
Well, he's back, I think, 15th at the present time. Car 15 in 15th.
Boy, this is one of these lap cars, just like Bodine. He's got to run the hardest laps he'll run all day long. He's got to try to stay in front of Davey in case the caution comes out. But somebody as strong as Davey is, it's hard to hold him off.
The 007 car that won the 600, then went down to the Winston this year, was destroyed. Those pictures that you saw at the top of our telecast, and he won the Winston, crashed into the wall after coming across the line, $300,000 richer, but he didn't remember getting the checkered flag. The car certainly looks as strong as Davey Allison said it was just a day ago.
Here's your second and third place battle. Alan Kowicki still hanging on to second, and Mark Martin hanging on to him.
Waltrip stays 4th, Ricky Rudd in 5th, Rusty Wallace in 6th, Kyle Petty is 7th, Mr. September, Harry Gant is in 8th, Schrader 9th, Brett Bodine is in 10th, Hut Strickland stays 11th on the field, and Ted Musgrave just gets better. He's up in 12th spot right now, while Earnhardt is back in 3rd. A fair chance he may go a lap down. A little twitchy up here as we watch those pictures out of turn 4.
Look here, Davey Allison was not able to pass 15. They caught Morgan Shepherd, and Jeff Bodine went around Shepherd. Now Davey trying to pass the 21 car that beat him here for the August race last year. Now he moves on the inside of Shepherd in the Wood Brothers car and puts him a lap down. Morgan had moved back to 15th after Jeff Bodine got by. But Bodine really fought hard to stay in that lead lap, and he's still there.
He pulled right up on Bodine just like he was mowing the grass, and then all of a sudden it went away.
Well, I tell you what, just talking about Bodine knew that he needed to try to run real hard laps, because just a couple of hard laps, and you catch a caution flag, it's worth 2 miles on this racetrack. So he's running some tough laps right now. Davey is going to try to put that car a lap down. Anytime you're in a position to lap some of the contenders, you do it. And I guarantee you Davey's going to try to put the 15 car down.
Did I say 300? Didn't he win $600,000 from Winston? It's a big pot of money.
Yeah, it wasn't that much for the winner, though. About $300,000. Yeah, that's enough for one night's work.
It was enough to replace old 007, I promise you.
Right, even as valuable as that car was. Speedway's up there now working on Bodine again.
Davey Allison stays in first and draws away with 63 laps now complete. Kowicki maintaining that second spot and on a very strong roll. Allison coming into today's race as defending champion, leading in the point standings by 21 over Bill Elliott. Chris?
No, Ned and Neil, I talked with Davey Allison last night, and he said how difficult it was to get his car right for this track. The sun's been out now about 5 laps. The track's heating up. I wonder if that might be his problem.
Well, it certainly can make a difference on a race car, Chris. There's no doubt about it, and how the tires adhere to the turn, and which will result in speed on the racetrack. And yeah, it's very possible with those only 2 tires that they put on the right side that might make a little bit of a difference once that sun has come out. Now he finally has moved around the car number 15 of Jeff Bodine.
Mike Joy?
Again, looking at the lap times in Davey Allison's pit, I don't think that he was running that slowly. It's just that suddenly Bodine was running pretty well. The fastest couple of laps that Davey has run lately were 41.99s and 92s, and that's when he was running right with Jeff Bodine. So I don't think Bodine was much holding him up. Also, Michael Krenifus, who's standing here in Davey's pit, he's the head of racing for Ford. And Davey might have taken just a little extra time getting around that other Ford. No, you wouldn't believe that, would you?
No, I guarantee you, Davey Allison is not asking Michael Krenifus which car to pass. He's just kind of picking them off one at a time. When you're driving those cars, the next guy in front of you is in the gun sights, and you're going for him.
Fellas, is one of the top Ford cars that slowed dramatically going into turn 1. Brett Bodine in the Kenny Bernstein entry has slowed. He's going into turn 3 right now. He just went a lap down to the leader, but he's certainly not up to speed.
He had been running in 11th position, Brett Bodine. Problem there. Looks like the engine's a miss. 65 laps are now complete. Ford sweeping the top 3 spots on the leaderboard. Allison, Kowicki, and Martin. Then it's GM, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th at the present time, and 9th. With Waltrip, Rudd, Wallace, Kyle Petty, Harry Gant, Ken Schrader, 9th. Hutch Strickland Chevrolet is in the 10th. Misfire on car number 26, they're reporting. Looks like it may have swallowed a valve.
Yeah, it definitely sounded sick when he came by. He stayed out on the racetrack. We saw Bill Elliott go by there, so he's going to stay out there and make as many laps as he possibly can. There goes Morgan Shepherd by, but another bad day for Brett Bodine and Kenny Bernstein.
There's the Andy Belmont car out of Pennsylvania moving around. Staying in this thing. CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. Tinactin, get the medicine that acts tough. Tough actin, Tinactin. And by Pringles, so fresh, once you pop, you can't stop.
70 laps are complete. There's been but 1 caution thus far as we get these pictures from the machine being driven this afternoon by the great short track champion, Dick Trickles, who closes in on Richard Petty. Trickles' day, they lost a car out here attempting to qualify. It's running 19th.
Rusty Wallace has slowed coming into the pits. This is an unscheduled pit stop, fellas. Something is wrong.
That's the 6th position car on the field. Rusty Wallace, former champion of this race. Looks like an engine may have caved in on car number 2 as they cranked those GM cars. Remember last week at Pocono, a lot of them expired. Looks like the same thing may be true today, Ned, that they're twisting those GM cars so hard to catch those Fords. They got caught up with last week, and it happened again here.
They're turning a lot of RPMs. There's no question about it. Of course, when you crank them up, turn more RPMs, you're putting more strain on parts of the engine, valve train in particular, and we're pushing Rusty Wallace's car back now apparently into the garage area, and yeah, that can certainly contribute to the engine problems.
And I think the 2 races that Ford won, they realized if they, the Chevrolet won, if they turn them up, they could race the Fords. And they cranked them for a couple of races, and then it bit them at Pocono, and they pull in a lot of gear here today. It's going to be questionable how many of them could run at that pace without slinging the valve train out of it.
As they work the 73rd lap, let's give you a running order through first 140 miles of competition as Davey Allison continues to blast through this one, trying to win it 2 years in a row. Won it over Strickland last year, dramatic style, then came back here in August and had one of the best races of the year. Got beaten by some kid from down around Hickory, North Carolina, named Jarrett, about 3 inches. The biggest standing ovation here that day, as I recall, wasn't for the guy that won it, for his father. They saved one up from Father's Day for him.
Well, it was quite a feeling, Ken, to the reception that the fans gave when we walked down from the broadcast booth. Well, here's Davey Allison working on Dale Earnhardt. He wants to put him a lap down. Earnhardt will certainly fight him as much as he can. He'll give him racing room, but he'll have to take it.
And remember that Earnhardt had just moved up into 11th spot with a failure on car number 2's engine, eliminating Wallace from the day. And here's Earnhardt putting on a spiffy little go here as he tries to stay in that lead lap. Right in front of him is number 30, Michael Waltrip, driving really hurt. Michael took a lot of abuse in that terrible crash that he had back here in qualifying. Right up here in turn 3 was where he went head on in the wall and shoved the whole front of that number 30 back about 3.5 feet, and it moved the interior of the car back several inches. Broke his nose, cut his lip, cut his cheek. Got about 14, 15 stitches in one leg, and he is one sore puppy, but he's out here today. He was in the hospital all day yesterday. Ben Hess tried to qualify a backup car. That was crashed in almost the identical spot. He backed it into the wall. So now they brought out this new number 30, which is really one of their better cars. It had set on the pole, I believe, at Dover, Delaware, and ran so well at Darlington. That's that yellow car, just the top side of the picture, getting run away from right now by Davey Allison as he tries to put the lap on Earnhardt. Here's Chris.
You know what it was? Yeah, I thought it burned a piston, but it broke another crankshaft. It's the same problem we had on Martinsville. And it broke again. It's too bad because the thing was handling perfect, running good. The Fords are tough, but RPMs weren't too high. Everything was fine. The car was handling good, but it just broke that crank. So,
how tough is this racetrack on cars?
I don't think the track's rough at all on cars. The track's in great conditions. It's super conditions to race in, and why it broke another crankshaft, I have no idea.
That's too bad. Better luck next time, Rusty Wallace. Back to you, Ken.
10 cars in the lead lap as Earnhardt goes down a lap. No, does not go down a lap. Earnhardt fighting to stay in that lead lap and gets it back. Give it 11 cars in the lead lap.
I told you Earnhardt was going to make him earn it.
And I think we're seeing Earnhardt in the same mode we saw Bodine a while ago. Davey ran him down, then took several laps, and Davies ran Earnhardt down here. It's just a little bit harder to get around him, but as strong as this car is, he's probably going to get back.
Remember that Earnhardt was second in the points as they went to Pocono a week ago. And he had problem early on, about 14 laps in. Swallowed a valve on the car number 3, ran around to a 24th finishing position, somewhere back in there. So he wants to stay up in that top 5, and look at him fight. But here comes Allison back on the outside to try and put him a lap down.
Well, that's some strength right there.
Yeah, that's horsepower. He did it, and now he does have that lap down. Fellas, while we've been watching all that, old Darrell Waltrip has sneaked up there into 3rd place, just keeps on coming.
You've been mentioning it from the start, and he's been strong since this race started. He's going to be a factor before it's over.
And he's closing on Alan Kowicki's number 7 right here in turn number 1. This at lap 77 in the Michigan 400. The old DW is on a roll, needs a win. Hasn't pulled it off yet this year. Could it be this afternoon? We'll see. As they come around to complete lap 80, we are under caution for the second time in the day. We believe it's for Wally Dallenbach's car. That lost an engine going down the backstretch about the same time Dave Marcus coming in very slowly in car number 71, but it is the second caution.
Yeah, and Dave Marcus could not quite make it back coast in to the pits, and that's the reason for the caution. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Well, here's the man that's earned $990,000 so far this year, getting a chance for 4 fresh tires. Eric Horn and Joey Knuckles on the right side, lug nuts. On the left, Raymond Fox the third, while Norman Koshimuzu dumps in gas. Danny Dickerson there with the catch cans. Bringing that jack around quickly is Jeff Clark. Tires go back over and across the wall. You have to be quick even on these yellow flag pit stops to get track position, and Davey's going to have it. He's first out of pit road.
Davey Allison, who has the track record here for this event at 174.728, the overall record on this track, 175.962. busted all those old marks. And looking very strong at the present time. It's gets out of the pits.
One of the key things that happened in the pits that time is Darrell Waltrip had a really good stop. The first 2 times he's been running good, but he didn't get out of the pits like he needed to. And this time he's right behind the second place car, so he should be right in the middle when they restarted.
He had moved up on Alan Kawicki. He was running third when he came into the pits and maintained that position when he came out with a good pit stop. And of course now they all have 4 fresh tires on their cars. We predicted that they would change. In fact, Larry McReynolds said they would take them 4 tires at their next stop, so they were able to do it under caution this time.
We've been talking about Darrell. Michael may well have a driver change in mind here in this caution period. Ben Hess may be getting ready to get into car number 30. 81 complete this time by.
Here we go on 30.
I believe that's Ben Hess ready to strap up right now.
It is.
Here's Chris.
Michael Waltrip has brought the car in the pits here. And Ray Wilkie picked up, and he's going to get out of the car and change driver. Here he is coming out of the car now. Michael Waltrip, Ben Hess giving him a hand, getting out, and Hess the replacement driver. No words at all with. Now let's go. We're going to get a word with Michael Waltrip here. He's getting out of the car. Oh, what a mouth on Michael Waltrip from Friday's crash. What kind of shape are you in, Michael?
Just really sore, Chris. You know, it'd been different if I was running good, but we couldn't get the car to handle good or whatever. So just decided to get out and take a rest, be ready for next Sunday.
What about your knee and your chest?
They hurt really bad. You know, I stayed in the hospital overnight for observations, but it's just pain. There ain't a whole lot you can do about that. I want to wish my father happy Father's Day and say hello to Jim Pate watching for Pennzoil. I hate I've had all these problems, but I guess that's life, huh?
That's right. Better see you next time. Michael Waltrip out of it for the day. Is replacement Ben Hess in car 30 heading out of the pits now. Back to you, Ken.
2 laps down, 25th position was where the number 30 was after the misfortunes that have trailed them around this 2-mile track. Pit stop was a long one here, well over a minute, almost 2.
You know, we talked to Michael Waltrip yesterday, and he said, you know, that was the worst wreck I've ever been in up here, and I can't help but think he forgot about Bristol, Tennessee. Boy, that wreck down there was the worst looking wreck I've ever seen, but the thing yesterday here really hurt him.
Hey, a couple of minutes ago when Earnhardt was trying to stay in the lead lap with Davey Allison, we've got some communication from that time that Ernie Irvin was passing along. Let's go to that and hear it when that great battle was going on. Dale trying to stay up there in that lead lap.
Watch Earnhardt, Davey. That's pretty good. I know Ken Earnhardt's doing a hell of a job. I wish he'd spend a little out. Yeah, I wish he would too, but he won't.
I tell you what, there's spectators out there riding around the racetrack. When your car's crippled like that, Ernie sat there and he's getting a good view of the race.
Best seat in the house.
Just bent up a little bit, crooked seat.
Morgan Shepherd of the Wood Brothers, number 21. Here's Mike.
Richard Childress owns Dale Earnhardt's car, and they took on 4 tires under green when everybody else got 2, so he was in that position to get lapped by Davey Allison. And now, Richard, you made another change to the car on this caution flag stop.
Yeah, the car was a little too tight off the corner. We wanted to make an adjustment with the tires and on the chassis, and what it did, it caught us. We still hadn't fixed the car, plus we lost too much time on that pit stop.
He's got no choice now to run Davey hard and try to get that lap back.
Yeah, we've been trying to run hard, but just hadn't been able to do it yet.
Coming around, they'll have completed 83 laps when they get green. It'll be Davey Allison in first, Alan Kawicki in second, Waltrip will be in third, Mark Martin in fourth. Running in fifth will be Harry Gant. In sixth will be Kyle Petty. Seventh will be Schrader. Eighth will be Hut Strickland. Ninth will be Musgrave. And 10th, Ricky Rudd. Those are all in the lead lap. 1 lap down is Earnhardt, and he'll be fighting to try to get that lap back and hope for a quick caution.
Dave, we saw him earlier able to race with Allison when he was up to speed for a few laps, but I don't know that he can restart and be able to stay with Davey on the restarts. That motor's so strong, that 28 car.
Yeah, he's going to have his work cut out for him, but you can bet your bottom dollar he's going to give that Chevrolet everything it's got to try to get back in the lead lap and then hope for a caution immediately.
He's probably going to see a few RPM on his restart.
5-time Winston Cup champion. Earnhardt deployed on the bottom of the track. On the outside is Davey Allison as they come back to the line. and ramble down to the turn number 1 before what looks to be a record crowd. Largest Michigan crowd, of course, is for Michigan football at 106,000. They may have topped it today.
Boy, look at Earnhardt go down on the inside. Davey Allison pushed up a little bit going into the turn. Earnhardt took advantage of it and has moved back out in front of him. Davey had him beat going into the turn, but Davey's car, I believe, just pushed up a little bit right in the center of the turn.
Yeah, it looked like he about pushed up, and Davey lifted a little bit, and Earnhardt just stayed in the gas, and he's back out front, but he's going to have to work hard to stay there.
The battle is Earnhardt's to stay in the lead lap. Here they come, back to 190 miles per hour in our live coverage, Michigan International Speedway on this Father's Day. And here comes Davey Allison streaking to the inside. Down across the start-finish line, Earnhardt holds him off for the moment.
And this is, if you ever have a caution, sometimes it happens on these restarts when the cars are bunched up, so they're going to battle. He's going to try to put him down, and Dale's going to try to hold him off.
And remember, they're running radial tires for the first time here at Michigan, and it is a cold day. Somebody makes an error out there, just doesn't think for a second about those tires. They'll trip you rather quickly.
They certainly will. If they get loose just a little bit, the thing can be gone for you. Here's battle for second.
There you see Kowicki on the high side in second. The 17 down low. Waltrip trying to pick up a spot.
And Davey Allison went awfully high, almost got the wall coming off of that turn. He might even lose the lead.
I think they touched. I think Allison and Earnhardt got a piece of metal between them out there.
Yeah, the piece of metal weighed 3,500 pounds. They were laying all over each other coming off turn 4.
And DW has taken the lead in the Chevrolet.
Ed, you've been predicting that from the start, and I'm telling you, he's awful strong. He's been able to gain on him. Now he's got the lead. See if we can hold it.
And while we were watching this battle, we said a moment ago that Wally Dallenbach had blown an engine. Apparently, he ran out of gas. He coasted around. He's back out on the racetrack now. So for the Wally Dallenbach fans, he's in the race.
Caution was out for the 71 car of Marcus. Let's take a look at this.
Here they are coming off turn 4. Dale's running track. He gets loose. Davey had to lift, either run in the side of him, and that's when Davey lost that momentum. And these other cars, like Ned was talking about, were able to come up with the momentum and go right on by him.
There's the picture down at turns 1 and 2. For the moment, it is a Chevrolet out in front. Darrell Waltrip in the 17. Now he's trying to lap Earnhardt. Here's Chris Economac.
I'm down here in Darrell Waltrip with Jeff Hammond. Hey, Jeff, what'd you do to that car?
Well, just kind of decided we wanted to lead a little bit here, Chris. We've been running good all week, and Darrell's been real pumped up about running here in Michigan. So he decided he wanted to go up front and see what the boys had to offer.
You're the leading General Motors car now. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Well, it's always a lot of pressure when you come to Detroit because, it's the backyard of all the big manufacturers, and, we're very proud to be able to carry the Chevrolet colors up front right now.
You're telling me in so many words he's been sandbagging up till now? Just say, was he sandbagging up till now?
No, we've just been trying to be, pacing ourselves. It's still a pretty long race, and you turn a lot of RPM here. So we were trying to pace ourselves and not, use up too much too quick. But now we're up there with them, so we're going to race them for a while.
There you have it from Darrell Waltrip, the new leader of the race in the Chevrolet.
But the new leader for the moment is car number 28, swinging back out in front. Davey Allison, bottom of the track. Kowicki comes with him as the Ford Chevrolet confrontation continues here at Michigan. Just to the east of Detroit, Jackson, Michigan, the area where Michigan International Speedway has drawn this tremendous crowd, as it always does. Facility of Roger Penske. Last year they had over 90,000 for this event. They've added a few thousand seats. I still think they're a touch shy of that overall record for the state, but they'll get it soon. Look at Davey Allison close in on Earnhardt. Remember that the number 3 for the moment is in that lead lap, putting 11 cars on the lead lap. That lap will be 89 complete when they come by this time, working toward halfway. Thus far, just 2 cautions in the event. Average speed way down from the record at 149 mile an hour average.
Ed, does that look like Darrell Waltrip, typical of him? He was leading the race. They wanted to mix it up. He drops right back, and he doesn't fall any further back. He just sits there and rides. So he'll be a guy to deal with before this thing's over.
I think he will, because especially after they ran a while, the tires got hot. His car seemed to even be better, according to the others, than when they were on fresh tires.
Darrell Waltrip has won here at Michigan twice in the August event. Never found victory here on Father's Day. Has won some $11 million in Winston Cup racing over some 21 full seasons, putting on a really good show.
Look at him come over the inside of Kowicki coming off the turn. His car is really working down low.
Earnhardt going a lap down to Davey Allison as they work lap number 90 of 200 to be run. "93 laps are complete. Davey Allison, for the moment, is the leader. Alan Kowicki finds himself, for the moment, in second spot. And Waltrip, who had led briefly, falling back to third, but stabilized right there about 2 car lengths back. Then it's Mark Martin and Harry Gant in that 5th position. There you see Kyle Petty running in the 6th spot, followed by Hut Strickland, Ricky Rudd, Musgrave, and Schrader.
Well, Hut Strickland, his car is being pushed behind the wall as we speak. Apparently has an engine problem. He was running in that 7th position. So now there are only 9 cars in the lead lap. Of course, Hut was second here a year ago, so this day not quite as good for him. And for the Bobby Hamilton fans, we mentioned earlier that he had gone behind the wall into the garage area, and he did for about 50 or 60 laps. He is back out there now, but many, many laps down.
Reviewing just a bit further back, it's Strickland. Strickland had been shown for just a moment in 10th. Now they've taken his number completely off the board, leaving Earnhardt 10th, Jeff Bodine 11th, Bill Elliott 12th, Sterling Marlin 13th, Dick Trickle 14th, Greg Sachs 15th, Richard Petty 16th, Morgan Shepherd in 17th, Derek Hope in 18th, and Bobby Hillen running in 19th. Rick Mast closes out the top 20. Incidentally, Charlie Glotzback, one of 4 drivers that was here for that very first race back 24 seasons ago. He's up in 22nd position today.
Jim Hensley was 21st, I should say. In fact, Ken, there are about 12 cars that are 1 lap down from the 10th position of Earnhardt all the way back to Brett Bodine, who is currently being shown in 23rd, but Brett is still not running up to speed. Apparently has lost a cylinder. 24th is Chad Little. 25th is Wally Dallenbach. Michael Waltrip is 26th. Hut Strickland now drops to 27th. He'll drop all the way off the board. Then 28th, Jimmy Means. Black Potter is 29th. James Hilton is 30th. Dale Jarrett 31st. 32nd, Jimmy Horton. Andy Belmont being shown in the 33rd position.
$10,000 bonus coming up here at halfway. Looks like Davey Allison is on his way for that 10 grand pickup here at the halfway point. There's Alan Kowicki closing in on him here, and I'm sure that the spotter is telling Davey Allison that that $10,000 is there. Those spotters are all up here on the roof just to the left of the start-finish line, up toward turn number 4.
Yeah, they got a grand spot, Ken. No better place they could be to watch the entire racetrack and see everything that's going on. And there you see them. There were 41 of them up there because there were 41 cars that started this race. The crowd has thinned down a little bit now because we have a number of cars out of the race. And once their car falls out of the race, those guys are going back to the garage.
Very important spot for that particular set of birds roosting up there, watching carefully as those cars go around the track, and really being able to give a tremendous amount of help.
Oh, no question about it. He's another set of eyes for the driver. He's watching everything that's going on the racetrack, looking ahead for the driver. If there's trouble up there, he tells him before he gets there. And then he also, if he's doing his job right, he's watching, like Darrell Waltrip was coming up through the field. I'm sure that those front runners were being told, hey, Waltrip is running high, as Neil pointed out there early, and you might want to try that spot on the racetrack yourself because he's gaining speed there.
Somebody yells clear at you, you know you've got room to move down. You haven't got to think about it.
When you're in traffic, when you do get by, sometimes the driver might not know, Neil, when is clear of their car that he's passing.
As close as racing is now, Ned, that you rely on that guy just to say move over, it's clear. You can't see that right rear quarter panel, and they'll just slide in a little hole there. And also, just like Davey Allison in the 4 car early in the race, he'll depend on that guy on the roof. The guys in the pits can see the left side tires. They'll say left side look good. He'll call the spotter, say, what do the right side tires look like? He said they're up, there's nothing rubbing. So you use the guy on the roof way more than we ever have in the past. He's not a spectator anymore. He's a guy who can really contribute to the race team.
Harry Gant, number 33, closing up on Martin in 4th spot. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Okay, we're here with Hut. Hut, can you hear me? What's wrong, you know?
Chris, I think you might have dropped the valve. I'm really not for sure.
You're all alone here and all working up there. What about these cars? So many cars having engine trouble. Why would that be?
Well, you got to put a gear on them right now to make them run. There was big Chevy the downfall of them right now. You got to put a gear on them to make them run, and then when you have to do that, they don't have any durability.
Okay, there's Hut Strickland, another driver who looks like he's out of it. Back to you, Ken.
We're halfway in the event, Chris. 100 laps down, 100 to go. Davey Allison has led 60 of those 100, and he's just picked up a $10,000 bonus.
Not a bad lap that he made there, that $10,000. And you can believe that they are aware of that $10,000. It's announced in the drivers' meeting that it will be coming up, and so everybody keeps them posted on when it's coming up, and nice little paycheck.
Yeah, they used to stick a little note on my dashboard and remind me 10 grand at the halfway mark, and they certainly, you know, you set up in your racing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but when there's 10,000 up for grab, they're going to reach out there and try to get it.
There's the battle for the moment. Fourth spot, Mark Martin in number 6 and Harry Gant are after it. We'll be back with that story in a moment.
This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
After 200 miles, half distance, we've had 6 different leaders swap the lead on 12 occasions. They're averaging well under the record at 151 miles per hour. 2 cautions thus far. 6 cars have retired. The most important incident of the day was early on, around lap 3, turn number 2, when car 4, Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison were in contact right here. And a correction is made, but no save.
So he just got too far out of position, Ken. He just couldn't save it completely, but he did save it from spinning all the way around in front of the big pack of cars behind him, kept it up on the wall, so it perhaps saved a major wreck.
Later on, Ernie Irvan talked to his crew about this incident. This is what we heard. Let's listen.
Sure good right there. It was kind of amazing. You went through the same corner, didn't hit no wall, and Davey did, huh? Oh, is that what supposedly happened? 10-4. I hit oil? He said he hit oil. That's the reason he got up in here. Oh, I guess everybody else is just much superior drivers than he was. I guess so. I think the TV said that Mulhern come over here and said that the TV clearly shows that he got sideways and got all over you. Well, you know, I knew that, and I mean, and that can happen, but to say you got it in oil, that sounds like a wimpy excuse to me.
Thoughts of Ernie Irvan after that incident up there in turn number 2. That sound like a racer to you, Neil?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when you're on the dishing out end, you think of things to say when you're on the receiving end, you turn it around. So, but there's only 2 people that really know what happened to 2 guys in those cars, and if that's speed, anything can happen. It's hard to tell.
Working lap 108 with Davey Allison staying out in front, trying to win it for the 2nd year in a row. And there's the number 4 running some 32, 33 laps back now. Ernie Irvan shown in 35th position, tail end of the field, still trying to pick up some points out here as he makes his way around. He came into this event in 10th. Dick Trickle had been there earlier and then fell to 12th. This could really hurt Ernie out here. The interval between 1st and 2nd gets a little tighter, 1 and 3/10 seconds between Davey Allison and Alan Kawicki, with Darrell Waltrip a very steady 3rd, just looking over their shoulder. Here's Chris.
The big lead outside of Motown. Ford is putting it to General Motors here today. Rusty Wallace's car out with engine trouble. Hut Strickland's car engine trouble. And now Darrell Waltrip, the leader for the GM contingent with a broken valve spring, running a crippled car. Ford has the combination for this track and has always had the combination here. They've stepped up the tempo, and the General Motors cars and trying to stay with them are suffering reliability problems. It's murder in Motown.
Down to the line they come. There's that interval. Do we have a report on 17?
Well, Ned's listing right now. He's sure running a good pace. He might, if he's got a valve spring problem, it hasn't slowed him down a whole lot. But there's certainly some of the cars having problem with the valve trains.
Yeah, he has dropped back. He's still running 3rd, but he has dropped back from Alan Kawicki, who is running in 2nd place. It was hard to tell when he came by whether the car was running on 7 cylinders or not. But he is still running at a very good pace.
You know, whenever the Chevrolet guys stepped the pace up and put more gear in the car and were able to win some races, I think they kind of felt like they had found the cure, you know, to catch for it, just to abuse the motors a little bit more. But then the next guy said, I'll abuse it a little bit more. And the next guy, then Ford steps the pace up, and now they've worked themselves into a catch-22 where they can go fast, but can they survive the punishment they put on the motors?
Well, certainly there's a limit to how far you can, how many RPMs you can turn those engines and still expect them to live. And normally the first thing that'll go in those high RPMs is something in the valve train, usually a valve spring.
Now you see the interval between number 17 Waltrip and Harry Gant, his Oldsmobile, working 4th position at lap 110. Harry Gant in 4th. Ned Jarrett, Neil Bonnet, Mike Joy, Chris Economaki. I'm Ken Squire on this Father's Day here at the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway. It's a dandy. Davey Allison, for the moment, has the advantage. Here's the guy that keeps turning things around as the race wears on. Number 33, 52-year-old Harry Gant, who just gets better and stronger race after race.
Man, he's just getting into stride. It's about the time of the race that Harry says, I might as well just move on up a little bit. He seems to get stronger as the race goes on.
Yeah, he does. I think what happens that he doesn't weaken as the race goes on. He stays the same speed all the time. Doesn't qualify that well many times, but the car just seems to run the same speed, and usually others will slow some as the day goes on.
A lot of drivers will be upset when they don't qualify well. Harry just takes it in stride and says, we'll race him.
Yep. Harry looks stronger than I've ever seen him. He looks like he's lost even more weight. Back when he ran modifieds, he had a little beef on him. That went away about 4 or 5 years ago. And now today, I mean, he looks like he's ready to go for light heavyweight championship.
Oh, he's in great physical condition. No question about it.
He's made enough money, he can build more houses. He's working a lot more now.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 will continue after this message and a word from your local station. The faces of the champions leading in the 24th annual Michigan 400. Davey Allison, defending champion, up in front. Alan Kowicki in second, winner last week at Pocono. Darrell Waltrip, the 3-time Winston Cup champion, in third. Harry Gant, who had such a great autumn last year, and Kyle Petty maintains the 5th position at the present time. The advantage is Davey Allison's, and he's continuing to develop a lead over Alan Kowicki. Darrell Waltrip, been running a very stable third, still is out there, but he's fallen back about another 10 or 15 car lengths over the past several minutes. And then there's a wide variable back to 4th spot where Harry Gant lies. It's about 3 seconds there. But it's still Davey Allison, who is blazing away from the field, blasting through the banking. We're at the midpoint of the season. It's off to Daytona Beach. They have next Sunday off. Then it's down to Daytona for the 4th of July. Let's go talk to some of the folks about what's been going on this season in the first 13 races as we come to race 14 today. Chris Economaki, what about the attendance this year on these Winston Cup events?
Well, the show is fantastic, Ken. The attendance was very big at the beginning of the season. Right here today, every seat is taken. $25 is the cheapest seat, $65 is the most expensive seat. And when a family comes here, it gets rather expensive. Some of the southern tracks have seen a bit of a falling off of attendance, but it's still one of the best shows in sports. Right here today, 12 lead changes among 6 drivers so far. However, it does get expensive to come to the race.
Mike Joy, you've been to almost every race thus far this season. What about the car count in Winston Cup racing?
Ken, though the competition is real healthy at the front of the pack, and there seem to be more teams capable of winning races toward the back of the pack, things aren't all that healthy. This race and several others have barely had full fields. In some cases, they have had to call up and bring cars in at the last second to fill the fields out. And a rule is supposed to go into effect July 4th, mandating a certain cylinder head for the engines in the General Motors cars. Some of the independent and lesser finance teams don't yet have those heads, and some can't afford them. So toward the back of the field, things are looking a little thin these days. And the cost of competing is, of course, going up.
Ned Jarrett, we've talked about this point battle they've had this year, and the fact that a week ago, 11 positions out of the top 15 were swapped around. We watched Potter's number 77 coming onto pit road. How about this point battle? Is this as good as it really looks on paper?
Oh, it's good. There's no question about it. You haven't. Davey Allison has won 3 races and he's either had feast or famine. He has finished in the top 5 positions or didn't finish at all, but he's ahead in the point standings. Now, Bill Elliott, I think that maybe has been somewhat of a surprise for some people because he is new with the Junior Johnson team. But they were Mr. March. He won all 4 races during the month of March and showed that, you know, he has the driving skills. Junior Johnson has the skills to put the car out there to win, and it surprised a lot of people that win that much that early. But yeah, the point standings is real and is exciting. I think it's going to be the last half of the season. We're going to see a lot of excitement as far as this championship battle is concerned.
Neil, it seems as though, looking in from the outside, that NASCAR has really designated some roles, defined them better than ever before, and that's why Gary Nelson seems to be working so well.
In the past, we've seen guys come in and they say, we're going to straighten this thing out, and it'd be a spurt of it. They'd get the cars as straight as possible, pull them right on the line. But every week, every track we go to, just like this week, we see fuel cells sitting all over the ground at the trailer.
That look like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, they've been drilling them out, putting more fuel in them, taking the foam out, doing different deals. Every week, Gary Nelson is on top of the situation, and NASCAR's inspectors know that if they do it, he'll back them up. And in turn, Billy France and the sanctioning body backs up Gary Nelson. So I think the policing is as strong as I've ever seen it, and that's when the competition closes like it is now.
The other thing is, as far as the morale is concerned here, that Nelson is now doing what some folks like you were talking about a season ago. All of a sudden, the plates in the back of the car are coming up, and the restrictor plates may be getting a little bigger, we keep hearing.
I think one of the big assets of Gary Nelson is going to be the fact that he was a car builder, a car constructor. He knew what was needed behind the scenes to make the cars perform better and everything. And he's requested more spoiler, more this, more that, and they're coming with it, and I think the teams really like it.
Well, that big spoiler plate in the back is getting bigger, and those restrictor plates, they may be getting bigger. That's one of the issues. There's Mark Martin now pitting as we're back to a green flag condition. And of course, the biggest story as we move to the second half of the season starts tomorrow as we watch Mark Martin in car number 6 on pit road. Tomorrow, 9 of the best teams head to Indianapolis.
Ted Musgrave just finishing his pit stop. He got 2 tires, and I think that'll be the trend here. A lot of folks will wait and see what Davey Allison does. I think Larry McReynolds would put only 2 tires on that car, because if his car falls off just a bit with only 2 fresh tires, and he's the best car here, think how much everybody else is going to fall back if they only get 2. And as we said earlier, you can't take the time to get 4 tires if the leader only takes on 2.
Bobby Hillen just pitted in 20th position. Pit stops are the order of the day. We'll be back with more of the story of this and the Indianapolis testing tomorrow following these messages. Tonight on 60 Minutes, did you ever get zapped by a cop with a radar gun? Well, some cops are saying that guns are zapping them too. Find out how tonight on 60 Minutes. Then it's Murder, She Wrote, followed by the CBS Sunday movie, Stranger at My Door, starring Robert Irwin. That's all tonight on CBS. Well, we're 127 laps deep. Davey Allison, this moment ago, as he brought that big Ford on the pit road, leading. And as he made this pit stop, and the others that were in there at the time came in, they put Darrell Waltrip into the lead.
Well, Darrell has since been in, and as Mike Joy predicted, Davey Allison only took on 2 tires, but the car number 7 of Alan Quick came in at the same time. He took on 4 tires. Darrell Waltrip just made a pit stop. He took on 4 tires, and so did Mark Martin.
One more stop for fuel to get us home here this afternoon.
Yep, they'll have to make one more pit stop, that is for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, that's Quickie went with 4 tires, and Davey with 2. That really put him behind, but maybe it'll pay off in the long run. But they seem pretty confident with the radios they can make it with 2 tires.
Riding with Dick Trickle, boy, he's had his problem. Ran out of gas, came down pit road, and ran out of brakes.
Evidently, it overshot his pits by about 6 or 7 pit stalls. They had to come out and push him backwards to fill it up, so he really had a tough time there. Lost a lot of time.
And lost himself some very favored positions. He had been up in the 14th and 15th spot. Now Trickle is having a look up from back in 25th position after problems on pit road in that car number 8 from the Stavola racing team. Bill Elliott just pitting car number 11. Rick Mast is on pit road at the present time. Bobby Hamilton is in as well. The leaderboard has number 28, Davey Allison, back into first as 17. Waltrip has taken the opportunity to come in there reporting.
Look at the wind really buffeting on the hood of that car and had it all rocking around on the car. Big trickle with high speeds.
Jimmy Hensley coming down pit road right now. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Paul Andrews is taking a look, sticking the tires for the temperatures across the surface that they just took off Alan Kulwicki's car. Alan, as you reported, got 4 tires. Davey Allison, the race leader, only got 2. Now they read these tires for an indication of how the car is handling and what they might want to change on the next pit stop. Paul, but taking on those 4 tires, that really cost you in track position, but you had to feel that was the right way to go.
Well, we feel like the car needed the 4 tires. Maybe if it stays green, it'll help us out at the end. We'll just be able to put 2 tires on and go.
Well, that last pit stop, they'll look for only 2 tires instead of all 4 like Davey Allison might need.
Alan Kulwicki running in 5th, putting a lap on the 12th place car, Dale Earnhardt, at the present time. Let's walk back through some of the field out here, Ned. There you see the leader, 28, Davey Allison, commanding this event. This juncture a year ago, he was in a tremendous scrap with Hut Strickland. Hut's having his problems today. They cranked a little too much gear into that one. And for number 12, Bobby Allison's team looking up from under. Now you see the number 17 car being shown in 2nd place. That's Waltrip. Dale Waltrip in the 17, going under Rick Mast in car number 1. Rick's car is running 18th overall on the field.
And here's Bill Elliott and the car number 9, which is being driven by Chad Little. Elliott currently being shown in the 10th position, 1 lap down. Chad Little, meanwhile, is back in 23rd position.
Yeah, running now 3 laps down. There's the number 5 car, and that's Ricky Rudd. And he is running in the lead lap.
Third place.
Stable looking good.
Yeah, he's running in 3rd place. He had a very good pit stop and have been moving up through the field. And we see Kyle Petty right, well, there's Alan Kulwicki on the screen there now. But Kyle Petty is right there being shown in the 4th position and Kulwicki 5th.
Battle for 4th right there, and Alan is closing with those 4 tires. He's sailing right now. This is for 4th spot. Kyle Petty on the high side, Felix Sabetta's team. And Pontiac high, and here comes Allen just mowing him down on the inside. Kyle Petty drops back to 5th.
If somebody wondered why that big move was to the inside, he was up beside Kyle. If he had rode along right beside him, they would have ran along and been virtually a tie. He broke the draft and went to the inside and was able to clear him totally.
And then there's the car number 8 of Dick Trickle. We talked about him there a moment ago. Lost a lot of time and currently back in 25th place.
Yeah, that was because of out of brakes and out of gas. Had a real problem. And here's Earnhardt. Remember that Dale is now being shown in 11th, right behind Elliott, 1 lap down from the leaders. Trying to get around Dick Trickle right now. It's tough going. A little further back in the field. We're riding with Harry Gant at number 33. Remember, he's in the lead lap, shown in 6th position at the present time. He had a second back here in the early lead. In fact, he's had a couple of seconds in this race. Still looking for the first win here in the Michigan 400. Harry Gant, number 33.
What a crowd. You talked about the close infield earlier today. It's packed.
And the next car we see there is James Hilton. James is pretty far back in the field, but he's nevertheless still out there running.
That car is a 1985 car. That's one of the old Bobby Allison cars that was put together by the Stavola brothers.
Boy, a pack of traffic coming up on him. We saw Mark Martin, who of course is one of the lead lap leaders in 7th position. Goes around James.
I think 55 is mixing up in here too.
That's 15 car of Jeff Bodine. He's back in 12th position. Bud Moore's car.
They've completed 135 laps this time by. At 15 car, Jeff Bodine in that 12th spot, being shown just 1 lap down. And there is Jeff. His Ford. Hoping to have a strong day. There's Jimmy Means.
Charlie Glotzback.
That's Charlie Glotzback in the Donlevy car. Boy, he's had some good runs here over the years. He was here in that very first race, as we mentioned, driving the Donlevy car this afternoon. car number 90 for Charging Charlie out of Georgetown, Indiana, the good old days.
And right behind him is Ted Musgrave, who is having another great day in the lead lap here, currently being shown in the 8th place. He's already had 2 8th place finishes this year. First in the Daytona 500, and then again in the World 600, 2 of the toughest races on the circuit. Musgrave has been right up in there. He's been in the top 20 in the points all season long.
When we talk about Musgrave, we're talking about different manufacturers running this car and that car. He's ran every brand of car there is this year. Yeah. He's ran Fords, Olds, Pontiacs. He's got one of every one of them.
There's Derek Cope's car number 10. And Cope, at this moment, in the Whitcomb Racing stable team, is back in 24th position. They had hoped that things might go better today. Barry Dodson's the crew chief on car 10. And he says this guy reminds him a lot of Tim Richmond. He says he thinks they've got a lot going for them down the road, but right now they're looking up from under.
He's a Charger.
Hey, I'm sorry. But that's the car that was in Days of Thunder. That was the one that Duval said he was going to shape it and do everything. And Barry Dodson said, well, it's good enough for Robert Duval. It's good enough for us.
Going a little further back in the field there, Sterling Marlin was involved in that 3rd lap wreck. Ernie Irvin had his problems. Sterling back in the 13th position, 1 lap behind the leader. And then there's Bobby Hillen, car number 31, who started in 5th. They're looking for a sponsor for that car, being shown now in the 20th position. He's 2 laps behind.
International owner on that car. That's a car that Team Ireland. Here's Davey Allison back in that lead. Let's look a little further back. There's 2nd spot. It looks like at this moment, as Davey Allison has the advantage, that car number 17, Walter, stays in that 2nd spot. 3rd is Kowicki.
He just went around Ricky Rudd. He ran him down with those fresh tires and got around him with 3rd place.
I think Rudd only took on the 2 tires, and so did the car number 42 of Kyle Petty. That did give him good track position for the time being, but those new tires, as you say, makes a difference.
And I know when you're sitting in that driver's seat and you come down pit road and they say, we're just going to take 2, and you're going to get 4 and everybody else is getting 2. You argue with them, but it weighs out. You know, it's a good judgment. They got a lot better insight sitting in that pit road than you have in that race car.
155 mile an hour average at the present time by Davey Allison. 2 cautions thus far in the race. More than 14 lead changes among 6 drivers today. Allison has clinched 5 additional points for leading the most laps. Nobody can outdo him now as we come to the 140 lap mark. He has led 96 of 139 today, having a good run. Davey Allison, car number 28. Can he stay there and win it 2 years back to back? We'll see as that Ford continues to ramble around the 2-mile Michigan International Speedway. Stay tuned. The Atlanta Braves are making a run at the top of the National League West. And the Cincinnati Reds are poised for the challenge. Catch the fireworks Saturday as the Braves battle the Reds. Some of you will see the Mets and Cardinals as CBS Sports presents Major League Baseball. It's Major League Motorsports today. NASCAR Winston Cup style from Michigan with Ned Jarrett, Neil Bonnet, Mike Joy, Chris Economaki. I'm Ken Squire. As we get down to lap 144 of 200 to be run, Davey Allison dominating this event. A year ago, he had to fight every inch of it, most of it with a relative, Hut Strickland. Today, he has been motoring away. An 11-second advantage right now over Darrell Waltrip in 2nd spot and Alan Kowicki maintaining 3rd.
And Ken, as we were giving our field rundown there a few moments ago, looking at all the cars out there, Ken Schrader, we didn't get back to him. He's the last car on the lead lap, currently being shown in 9th position, but you can see how close Davey Allison is to him there now. And so we long to only be 8 cars on the lead lap.
There you have it. That's the interval between the man on the tail end of the lead lap, Schrader, in 9th position, about to go a lap down. And of course, he's going into the hospital tomorrow morning. That herniated disc. He is in pain all the time except when he's in a race car.
Race cars are good medicine for you, and our best wishes to him. Let's go to the pits now, and Mike Joy.
I'm with Buddy Parrott, the man who engineered Richard Petty's last victory, and today he's the crew chief for Ted Musgrave. Ted's up in 8th spot, started way back, running up in 8th spot, having a great day. Big smile on your face.
Well, I'll tell you what, this Jasper engine car is running great today, and the crew's doing a good job. We're doing a lot of pit strategy in here, and The main thing is we're doing 2 tires, and I think it caught on down pit road because everybody else is doing 2 tires. But we're just trying to stay in the lead lap and hope for a good day.
That's kept him in the chase. Musgrave's name has been linked with several big rides for next season and some big offers. Chris?
You're looking at the score sheet for being maintained by Darrell Waltrip's chief certified public accountant, his wife, Stevie. Stevie, we're watching you work here. How's he doing on the clock out there? Is he holding his own?
He really is. In fact, he's a little faster right now than he was a little earlier.
Now, you're expecting a new Waltrip one of these days. When is the big day for the new arrival?
Labor Day, September 7th.
Okay, good luck to you and Dal on that. Dal Waltrip leading the General Motors Brigade here in Michigan today. His wife, his most loyal supporter. Back to you, Ken.
Ford, Chevy, the front 4, and it's Waltrip in second, and caution is on the track for the 3rd time this afternoon. Bit of a break for Musgrave here. As the mowing machine, Davey Allison was mowing down everybody in the lead lap. This will bunch the front 7 back together again on this Father's Day. $60,000 bonus this afternoon if the pole sitter can win it. Davey Allison, he looks like he has the makings to pull that off, but he's really turning that car up real strong as we get toward lap 148. There's some debris out on the track, hence the caution flag. 3rd occasion of the afternoon, they're waving the yellow. We'll be back with more in a moment. Davey Allison staying first, Waltrip second, Kowicki 3rd. We'll see what the strategy is here in just a moment.
This Michigan 400 race summary is sponsored by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
After 296 of 400 miles have been completed, 6 leaders thus far, 14 lead changes, and the speed at 156 and dropping again with his 3rd caution of the day. As they work on the track for car number 22, Sterling Marlin apparently lost an engine. Going through the 1st and 2nd turn area, he's gone back to the garage area, and they continue to lay the speedy dry down and try to get this track back in ship shape to get going another time. Let's see if we can get any report on that attrition. They're still working on the track, finding some pieces and parts out there. Huh. What's that all about?
Well,
something.
The asphalt may be
peeling up
a little bit there, so they're trying to take care of that situation.
Either that, or maybe when he blew a motor, he stuck a piece of metal in the track.
It's very possible.
There's something going on there. They're digging something out of the track. He possibly, when he lost that engine, something detonated and went through. I've had him come out through the hood, not through the fenders, and blow tires out. It possibly could have stuck in the track.
Leaders are all on pit road. Remember that Davey Allison has had the advantage every which way today. Certainly had it in power, had it in handling. He had pulled away, had himself about 11 seconds over Darrell Waltrip. And as they're on pit road, let me ask you, Neil Bonnet, when you see something like that, and he gets that kind of an advantage, or he's just drawing away from the field, and he's out there all by himself, what do you think about it?
Well, you know, a lot of times people say, why didn't he slow down? Why didn't he slow the car down? He's just driving away from him. Take it a little bit easier. But these cars are made to do one thing. They're made to go very, very fast. I've had people get in cars and drive them slow, and they say, oh, it darts around, it makes racket, it jumps, it hops and bounces around. They don't feel good. The engines are balanced for high RPM, and it's like an airplane landing. When the flaps are down, they feel lousy at slow speed, flopping around, and when you get them at full speed at 30,000 feet, they feel smooth. These race cars are the same way. High speed running is what they're made to do.
But when you're running out there, you're looking for that guy in front of you. Now you're out in front, and there's nothing in front of you. So then what do you do?
Just try to eat up some real estate, put them further behind you.
CBS Sports coverage of the Michigan 400 will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by A1 Steak Sauce. A1, it's how steak is done. The First Brands Corporation, makers of STP's Son of a Gun Protectant. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
In an effort to win this race, Darrell Waltrip is going to shoot crap. He came in here a few laps ago, took on fuel. They're very careful to make sure the tank was full. 106 miles remain in the race when he stopped. Jeff Hammond says they're going to go for it in an effort to try and beat Ford. 106 miles with these low gears is asking a lot from one tank of fuel in NASCAR racing.
Well, here's the picture. As they came to the line, there were 151 laps complete. There were 49 laps to go, with Davey Allison in first, Waltrip in second, Kulwicki in third. To date in this race, Darrell Waltrip has run 46 laps on a tank of gas. Davey Allison 43, Alan Kulwicki 45. There's one car, Bill Elliott, that's running a lap down in 10th, that's run 49 laps. Bill Elliott.
Yeah, but even though there was 49 to go when they took the green, they took fuel on 2 laps before that. They ran 2 on the caution, so it's going to be so close. It's going to be, I don't know if anybody can do it or not. I bet you somebody tries it if it goes green.
Now, why wouldn't somebody like Musgrave on the tail end dive in there just before they got to start and top that thing?
Unless there's a car spin, looks like Gant up high. He hadn't lost. He's up. Yeah, he's going on around in the middle.
Harry Gant in 2 goes all the way around. In car number 33, it's going to bring out another caution. Harry Gant getting loose in the first turn, spinning and ending up on the high side in turn 2.
He was in 5th place when this happened. Of course, they'll race back to the caution, as you say. Nobody even challenging Davey Allison to get a lap back as they come back here to the start-finish line.
Waltrip second as they come to the stripe. Kulwicki third. Rolling back up through, hustling, was the number 11, the Bill Elliott, trying to get that lap back.
You know, we never see them come in after just 1 lap of green and come in and make pit stops, but they're just about have to this time. They're going to have to top those tanks off.
Some of them will. I believe they'll come in and top those tanks off and hope they can go the rest of the way. Gant has, meanwhile, come on around. Let's see if we can see what happened. He got a little high. You see Ricky Rudd go under him, and he just couldn't get it gathered back in. Looks like his right tires got up in the loose stuff there. A lot of cars going by on the inside. He stays high on the racetrack, which is good, and never does touch the wall, it doesn't look like.
A lot of new folks watching today. Let's talk about the marbles on the outside as Gant comes down pit road in car number 33. That loose stuff on the outside, that will bite you.
Yes, it will. And what it is rubber and a little bit of grit and gravel that's been thrown up there as they've have ground the rubber off the tires during the race here, and boy, you just don't get traction on it. Now, he came into the pits, and was the pits closed, Mike?
Well, it was, but since he was the car that brought out the caution, I believe he's allowed. He does have a left front tire completely shredded, not just flat spotted, but shredded. This may be a blessing in disguise because Harry will go back out on the tail end of the lap with a full tank of gas, in addition to 4 fresh tires when they get the restart. And while we're here, I mentioned about Darrell Waltrip's gas mileage. You talked about what happened here at this track in the past, but this season at Dover, Delaware, just a couple of weeks ago, Waltrip gambled on fuel mileage. He had to run 6 laps less to the end of the race than did Harry Gant. Waltrip ran out of gas. Gant won the race on fumes, so Darrell's not been getting the best gas mileage this season.
Well, Mike, everybody else is coming in just as we suspected. They're going to top those fuel tanks off. Harry Gant's going to wind up leading this race.
The question is, can he get back around quick enough? An accident turned around and going to be a positive side to it for him. He could possibly be leading this thing.
Yeah, if he can get back. Now, they will be able to blend in wherever they are. Davey Allison has already got his fuel. So has Darrell Waltrip and Alan Kulwicki. So they're going back out. Yeah, they're going to blend in ahead of Harry Gant. He just simply couldn't get around quick enough.
154 laps are complete. 154. And that brush you hear down below us on the start-finish line is Gant collecting up the field in car number 33.
And I believe every car in the lead lap, Ken, was able to get in and get back out ahead of Harry Gant.
9 cars in the lead lap, showing Allison, Waltrip, Kulwicki, Kyle Petty, Ricky Rudd, Martin, Musgrave, Saxon Gant.
Just because they topped them off, it's still not a guarantee they can make it, because the guys that are going to in contention to win this race, this will be their longest green run they've made all day, so it's still not a sure bet.
Yeah, and they got to run them hard here on that. And you mentioned Sax. He's on the tail end of the lead lap right now, Ken. He was 1 lap down, being shown in the 9th position, but he's the car up behind the pace car right now, but he is technically in the lead lap, just right in front of Davey Allison, and is leading the race.
Remember that Davey Allison has had a 43 and a 44 lap run thus far under green today. We're showing 154 now complete, 155 when they take green.
Pretty close.
As they get ready to bring them back down. All bunched up, and I think we're going to see that break come from Sachs' car as he tries to stay up there. Field motoring down on to start. Maybe we can take a look at some telemetry and show you how these cars come up through the gears and get rolling out of here, out of Dick Trickle's car. There's the brake.
three cars, Morgan Shepherd, Greg Sachs, and Dale Earnhardt. And Shepherd goes very high into the turn as we watch that telemetry. And Dale Earnhardt scoots under him. Earnhardt is technically back in the lead lap. You see on the left of your screen there, Davey Allison coming up on him. Morgan Shepherd and Greg Sachs went very high in that turn, allowed Earnhardt to go under him. And Davey Allison went under him as well. Now he's trying once again to put a lap on Dale Earnhardt. Doesn't look like it's going to be much of a chore this time.
Earnhardt 11th and trying to stay in the lead lap. Here he comes with Davey. On the outside, Allison, Earnhardt, and right behind them, Waltrip.
Look who's sitting in perfect position there. If they stay side by side as they come off the back straightaway, Darrell Waltrip will have an opportunity to go three abreast and try to get both of them down this back straightaway.
Yeah, they're opening up a lot of air there now, running side by side. Darrell goes a little bit high there. He's just looking for a place to go. He has the momentum. But now Davey moves on ahead of Earnhardt. Waltrip follows him, picks up the draft of Davey Allison as well as he can. That Ford is strong down the straightaway.
I don't know what kind of trouble Darrell had earlier, but it doesn't seem to be giving him a whole lot of problems here this part of the race.
I don't think he had dropped the cylinder as had speculated a little bit earlier.
Here he is, right in this thing. Ford in first, Chevy in second. The lap car of Earnhardt.
And a lot of scrambling going on back in the field as cars are in the lead lap trying to jockey up through there. You see the green and black car right in the middle of all of that is Kyle Petty. He went low, he went high. He's been trying to pick his way through that traffic. He is one of the cars on the lead lap. Ricky Rudd, car number 5, right behind him. And then the white car there is Ted Musgrave hanging right in there, hanging tight. That's Bobby Hillen in the black car number 31 down on the inside. Then Jeff Bodine, they're both, Hillen is 2 laps down, Bodine is 1 lap down.
Hillen, 15th.
As they came off turn 4 there, the 6 car, Mark Martin, and looked like the 21 car got together coming off 4, and they ricocheted around. They got them straightened back out.
159 laps complete this time by as Allison stays first. Waltrip is in second. Alan Kowicki.
Look at Kyle Petty, dipped to the inside of Morgan Shepherd, made that move. Ricky Rudd perhaps will try to follow him, pick up the draft. No, Ricky stays up there in the middle of the racetrack. Kyle was hoping he would come with him. Now Shepherd goes high. Kyle takes that low line, tries to pick up the draft from Martin coming off of that turn, but he comes out about even with Morgan Shepherd as they head into the trial here.
Morgan Shepherd in 11th position. Kyle in 4th. Let's go to Mike George.
They're using a lot of pencil lead in Davey Allison's pit. That's Norman Koshimuzu, the gas man. He weighs the can after they dump it in Davey Allison's car to know how much gas is left in that can. And from there, Larry McReynolds, the crew chief, looks at those figures and has to decide, is that enough gas to go the distance? Was there enough gas in the car? Can you make it?
It's going to be close, but if we can get a good enough lead and conserve some, we'll definitely be safe. But we had to top off, and we didn't lose nothing by topping off, but it's going to be close.
Hey, that's a pretty good luxury to say. If you get enough lead, you can take it easy. Most guys have to draft to conserve, but Davey can get out front and take it easy.
Yeah, here's Jimmy Hensley. Yeah, the K.O. Yarborough entry. Has been running very well with that car since he started driving it a couple of months ago.
First time he's been here at Michigan for Hensley, 10-time winner in Grand National Racing, and had a lot of Winston Cup based on Richmond and Martinsville. Car number 66, the Hensley car, coming down from the Cale Yarborough team, current leader in rookie standings. Here's Mark Martin's number 6 as he picks his way around some machinery, getting around Kenny Schrader, putting him a lap back. More in a moment. Next weekend, the PGA Tour travels to the Westchester Country Club in Rye, New York, the Buick Classic. Scheduled to compete, Davis Love III, John Daly, and last year's champion, Billy Andrade. So be with us next week. It's the Buick Classic here on CBS. Davey Allison's number 28, maintaining the lead, drawing away from Darrell Waltrip in second spot. The issue will be fuel at the end of this event. There are 154 laps, 155 this time by, complete on Allison over Waltrip in second place at the line. The third spot is Alan Kowicki, and there's a tremendous battle developing between Mark Martin and Kyle Petty. They go down to turn number 1. And there you see that struggle. There's the 21 trying to move up through from a lap down.
Well, Kyle Petty and Mark Martin had run side by side for 2 laps. Here comes Martin back up on the outside. He thinks better of that. That's not the smart thing to do. In fact, he loses a position now as Ricky Rudd moves up on the inside of him. Just 3 laps ago, Martin went very high, almost hit the wall up in turn 4 as Alan Kowicki went by. So his car having a little trouble staying down the inside. Here comes Ted Musgrave going around him as well.
Musgrave, number 55, on the bottom. Ted Musgrave making a very stout run here today. He is in 7th spot and moving up on Ricky Rudd for 6th.
Very impressive run for Ted Musgrave. Now moves around. Well, for a moment he was on the inside of the head of Ricky Rudd. Can't quite make the pass. He's running forward here. Neil mentioned earlier that they run every brand that's been running in Western Cup racing so far this year. And he has a Ford here today.
Here's Mike Joy.
Ken, not only is Mark Martin dropping back a few spots, but they have lost a header pipe. They've broken a header pipe on the car, so it's not scavenging the exhaust properly, so he doesn't have all the power. And as Ned mentioned, when he came back up on that car, it was in the middle of the corner where he's working real well, but he just doesn't have the power down the straightaway, and I think you'll continue to see him fade back just a bit. I've talked to everybody along this end of pit road, Ken, excuse me, and they all say they can go the distance on gas or run out trying.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make it. They just might run out trying.
Well, look at Kyle Petty's car going high in the turns. Morgan Shepherd had to back off, and here came Mark Martin back up on the inside. There's Ken Schrader in the battle. Ken, of course, is lap down, currently being shown in the 11th position.
Kyle's car seems to have pitched over the last few laps. It looks like he's at that back end hanging now.
Well, the car seems to run well on the low side of the racetrack, but when he has to lap somebody, get up on the high side of them, it just doesn't seem to work well up there.
Completing his 168th lap, Kyle Petty in number 42, shown in the 5th position. Rudd is in 4th, Kowicki is in 3rd, Waltrip is 2nd, and it's Davey Allison still on the point. Looking back through the field here, Jimmy Means having to run today. Rick Mast has had problems. Car number 1 came in slowly. James Hilton's still out there.
Yeah, Mast went into the garage area along with Jimmy Hensley. We saw Hensley come into the pits, but Rick Mast looks like he's out of it today.
Here you see 42, Kyle Petty in that 5th spot. And look at Musgrave. For the moment, he's out of that frame, but he has been a stout contender. Here he is in the number 55, right up on number 5, Ricky Rudd. Mike Joy spending a few moments in the Kyle Petty pits.
Robin Pemberton's his crew chief, and Robin, they're saying when he gets down in the corner and has to run up high, the car doesn't look like it works too well, like it does on the bottom.
It's fine. The problem we got is the lap car 21's running just good enough to get in there and mess the aero up. When they get singled out, it runs fine. You know, obviously we're not the first place car, but easy top 4 or 5.
You'll take it.
I'll take anything we can get.
Oh, he's giving it a ride. Look at Kyle Petty as he closes in on Ricky Rudd in the 5 and Musgrave in 55. Kyle is really driving some race here.
Well, he's talking about the aero. He's talking about when he gets around another car, it upsets his car. But you don't have a luxury in Winston Cup racing to run him by yourself. He's fixing to be in even more traffic, and it could give him even bigger problems than he's had now.
171 laps complete this time by as Davey Allison goes for 2 in a row at Michigan in the 400. Stay with us. Tonight on 60 Minutes, ever get zapped by a cop with a radar gun? Well, some of the cops these days are saying the guns are zapping them. Find out more tonight on 60 Minutes. Then it's Murder, She Wrote, followed by the CBS Sunday movie, Stranger at My Door, starring Robert Urich. That's all tonight on CBS. It's all on the line here as we get down to 175 laps complete, 25 to go on this 2-mile Michigan International Speedway, and it's all here. Davey Allison's car number 28, seeking to win this race back-to-back. has the advantage for the moment over the Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip in second. Then it's a Ford in third, Alan Kowicki, followed by the Chevy of Ricky Rudd in fourth, the Ford of Ted Musgrave in fifth, and Kyle Petty's Pontiac is sixth, with Mark Martin now in seventh. Suffering some problems out there. It's not working as well as it was earlier. Broke a header pipe. There you see 25 laps to go. The issue is fuel. We're going to see Davey Allison make it. Anybody make it?
Well, Larry McReynolds, his crew chief, said if he can get himself a cushion or ease off the gas a little bit, and he's got himself a cushion right now, so maybe he is easing off.
He's got that cushion, but it's hard to believe. Usually when you got a motor as strong as Davey Allison, one thing makes power, and that's fuel. And usually when you run that good, you're using a lot of fuel, but they seem pretty confident.
Some cushion. 2 5/10 seconds.
A cushion in NASCAR is 2/10 of a second at time, so he's got him a cushion.
There you see Davey in front and Waltrip right there. What a run Darrell Waltrip, who started 9th on the day in his 18-400, is having. The 3-time Winston Cup champion. Looking as stout out here this afternoon as he has in any of the 13 races today. Had a couple of wins in the August race, but this is the one that skipped by him.
I tell you who's really making runs, Musgrave. You know, a while ago, Kyle Petty pulled up beside him and ran right with him.
Ted Musgrave just moved into fifth. Certainly is his best run. He's never finished in the top 5. He's doing a heck of a job out of the present time.
Let's go to the pits and Chris Conovac.
Well, Neil Bonnet mentioned earlier today that they're on radial tires for the first time here at Michigan International Speedway. And now as we get close to the end of the race, it looks like everyone has adapted very well. There have been no tire problems whatsoever displayed in the course of this event. Goodyear's done another great job in supplying a first-rate racing tire.
Here you see Musgrave in the 55, closing in on car number 5, Ricky Rudd.
We just mentioned just a few laps ago that the Kyle Petty put a lot of heat on Musgrave, and then he got on out there. He started running his car harder. Maybe he saw he had a little bit more, and now he's right there making a pass on Ricky Rudd.
Trying to take over 4th position. Very impressive run for Ted Musgrave, who did a lot of racing in this part of the country, Ken, and various types of competition, short track
ASA
competition.
runner for a long time.
Boy, look at his crew. Aren't they happy about that, too?
You know, guys behind the scene that work so hard like that, this is when they get their payoff. When they see their race car passing guys like Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty, they're having a great day.
Here comes Kyle in the 42 after Ricky Rudd. 178 complete. Getting down to 22 laps to go as Davey Allison stays in first, Waltrip in second.
4th, 5th, and 6th we're seeing, and you can see Mark Martin, who's in 7th. He's at the top of the screen. Not gaining too much ground on that racing.
That battle that we're watching right there is about 10 seconds back from leader Davey Allison. He has really handled this field. Talking about that engine at the top of the show, he said this is the baddest engine that ever spit fire. And so far, that's just what it's done.
What he's talking about.
Dragons just smoked everybody off.
You know, we always hear him talk about 007. This new car is number 10. I think a lot's got to do with it what they raise that hood and set on there every week. I mean, you buckle one of Robert Yates motors on these big racetracks, and I mean, they stretch out and run.
Ernie Irvin stays 31st on the field. He's completed 137 laps. Remember, early incident in the race, he was in the wall in turn 2. He's still out trying to accumulate some points. Waltrip's best finish this year in that 17 car has been a 3rd. He's had a couple of 5ths, so this is a good run for Darrell Waltrip, who just hasn't done that well in the points today.
Well, he has had some awfully good runs. In fact, he's been competitive in most of the races this year, Ken, but he's just had some bad luck along the way. Just couldn't capitalize on how good his car was running. Just things would go wrong for him. But today, everything going well so far.
There you see Waltrip and Kowicki. 2nd and 3rd, the 17 and the 7 as Davey Allison zeroes in on his 17th Winston Cup victory. Can he do it? We'll see very shortly. 181 of 200 laps are now recorded. A Midsummer Night Classic. The national pastime in the world spotlight. The All-Star Game coming Tuesday, July 14th. The All-Star battle here has Davey Allison in first, Waltrip in second, Kowicki third, Musgrave fourth, Ricky Rudd is in fifth. Rounding out the top 10, it's Kyle Petty, Mark Martin, Harry Gant, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott. Here at the Michigan International Speedway, officially now 185 laps are in the book. And this man, Davey Allison, has dominated the day. Leads in the Winston Cup standings as we come to race number 14, the midway mark in the Winston Cup season. On from here to Daytona, Pocono, Pennsylvania, coming back up, back to Michigan another time. A lot of great racing. Talladega, Alabama will be with you there July the 25th. Hope you'll plan to be with CBS. Look at this right here. That's that's the 7 car, Alan Kowicki, closing in on Darrell Waltrip in a battle for second place.
He's been creeping up on him for the last 5 or 6 laps, Ken, and he has caught Darrell now. But the question is, how many of them can go the distance on fuel? We heard earlier that they were all going to try it. It'll be interesting to see who does.
Dan, I tell you, it's just hard to believe they all can go the distance without having trouble. There's Musgrave, who got around Rudd and is just driven away from Ricky Rudd and gaining up the leaders.
Flying through this field. Saw him just run over Ricky Rudd, run right by him. Here he comes. Still the quickest thing on the racetrack except for Davey Allison.
Yeah, Davey's conserving fuel, but the only problem, while he's conserving, he's still pulling away. It's a good thing he hadn't hold that thing wide open. He checked out on him for sure.
Well, is that the car you tested, Neil? So that's the car you tested?
Yeah, that's 10. I think that's the one they ran up in Charlotte. And Davey told me I better get something to hook onto my helmet because it's snatching knot my neck when I mash the gas in it. And it did. I'm telling you, it's impressive.
Here's Kowicki trying to move on the high side of Darrell Waltrip off turn 3. Waltrip staying down on the low side of the racetrack. Kowicki couldn't do anything with it that time.
Along pit road, they're saying that the leaders can make it on the fuel they have on board. Battle is for second. Darrell Waltrip looking for his best finish of the season. Third at Martinsville earlier, trying to improve on that by a notch today. And Alan Kowicki, fresh from that brilliant victory on the 2.5 mile of Pocono last Sunday, again driving a very good race.
Ken, we get pretty good feedback on pit road, but I'm not going to say I'm going to believe every word we hear down there. When they tell you they can make it the rest of the way, the guy that says they can't make it the rest of the way is going to get fired. So they're playing a gambling game down there, and they're just going to roll the dice and see what happens.
Chris Economaki?
Well, you're talking about fuel. I'm in Darrell Waltrip's pit, and they're all sitting here relaxed. Nobody's got the gas cans out. There's no getting ready for an emergency stop. They're confident they're going to go the distance.
Yeah, I would say that their confidence level would be perhaps the highest of any of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe isn't conserving a little bit of fuel himself.
Mike Joy?
Well, Neil, they've made the decision, and as you say, it may not be the right decision, but they've made it. There are a couple of gas cans here in Alan Kowicki's pit, and they're full, but there's no plans to bring that car in unless there's a caution flag, and the same for Davey Allison. They're going for it.
Alan Kowicki going for second place right now. The winner at Bristol, the winner at Pocono earlier this season, currently third in points, dives to the inside. Here comes Kowicki on the move.
Well, he's been running high. Darrell has done such a good job of staying down on the inside of the racetrack, protecting that low groove. Alan couldn't get underneath him going into turn 1. Now Darrell goes a little bit high. Let's see if he's going to be able to get under him now. Darrell gets good traction off the turn, though. He's going to be able to pull him. Apparently, a little slick coming off at turn 2 there, Neil, and Alan just couldn't get traction.
You know, that's what's so good about this racetrack, that width on it. We saw Darrell protect the inside. He moved high. And anywhere on this racetrack, if you got a good race car, you can go, and it's making it tough on Kowicki to get around it.
15th place car, Bobby Hillen, pulls on to pit road, car number 31, as we watch this battle for second place. Waltrip still there, Kowicki right with him.
Now, Davey Allison is not pulling away from them now, Ken. He's staying about the same distance. I think that he's probably letting off a little bit earlier going into the turns and not just using all the fuel they possibly can. He's trying to conserve as much as he can with less than 10 laps to go.
And then he's probably the only one with that luxury. The rest of the guys are having to run just as hard as they possibly can.
Yeah, Darrell probably didn't want this situation here right now to have to race Kowicki that hard. I said earlier that I felt that he might be conserving a little bit of fuel, but then once Kawicki got up there with him, he has to race hard to maintain second and hope that Davey runs out.
Davey Allison's lead, 4.07 seconds. Just a little over 4 seconds is by what Davey Allison leads as they come down out of turn 4 with 192 complete. There he is going into the first turn. As you look back, here comes that battle for second spot. Darrell Waltrip and Alan Kawicki. And now it's 4 even. Tightening up just a little. Waltrip and Kawicki after Davey Allison.
You know, one thing that's supposed to happen on these big tracks, Ned, is whenever two cars get together like this, they're supposed to run faster. But Davey is just totally dominating. He can pull away. Two cars together don't help one a bit when you try to run Davey now.
No, it doesn't. And the car number 30 we saw coming into the pits, I think he ran out of fuel. Ben Hess driving that car now for Michael Waltrip, so he had to come in for a dash of fuel.
We've already seen 3 cars come down pit road, and they probably don't have anything to lose. They'll put some fuel in just in case the others do run out.
Remaining.
We just got word that the control tower, which would be NASCAR, is questioning the ability of these cars to go the distance. If they do go the distance, I feel like we'll see Gary Nelson in action. He'll get to look at some of these fuel cells, and they'll check them out and check the gallons they use when this race is over.
They were told in the drivers' meeting that the first 5 cars in the race go to the gas pumps. That's normal. I mean, they do that at every race. Go to the gas pumps, and yeah, they'll check them out. You can rest assured.
Larry McReynolds and company are telling Davey Allison, when they come by this time with 5 laps to go, to conserve, to ease up just a little. Remember, he has a 4-second cushion over this little Quinella, running in second spot.
Musgrave just came down pit road.
Musgrave
running 4th.
Fuel problem on number 55. He's in. Saw the light come on.
Yep, he just couldn't go the distance. And he didn't want to run out going into turn 1 and have to coast around as we saw Bill Elliott earlier in the race. They'll just put a couple of gallons in. He doesn't need much gas, maybe 3 gallons. He's on the road again.
Did it in about 4 7/10 seconds. Musgrave back underway. So now Davey Allison in 28.
Chad Little coming down pit road.
That's from Ernie Irvin's car. You're watching him come up the high side. Chad Little brings the number 9 on pit road for a moment. Topping that tank. He's doing pretty well. He's up to 19. Let's get a report from Mike Joy.
Ted Musgrave stopped because, as you pointed out, they run different makes of cars all year. They're not familiar enough with the Ford to know the true gas mileage characteristics. They'd never run that car here, so Buddy Parrott said they had to stop rather than run out.
Ken Schrader's in the pits for a dash of fuel.
And that's one of the best economy cars at the track. They usually go a long way on fuel.
12th place car. Here's Allison in front.
And they've taken, Ken, Michael Waltrip's car behind the wall, and so their problems continue here.
They got him back out, Nick.
Oh, okay.
But he stopped over in 3 and 4. He's slowing down. I don't think he's going to make it back around, which could bring out a caution.
Yeah, he did go back out slowly around the track. I thought he went behind the wall. He'd been going so long.
He's down in turn 3, just idling along here, trying to creep back. That is Ben Hess at the controls of Michael Waltrip's car number 30, who was battered right there on the track, right straight up into the outside wall and moved the whole front back about 3.5 feet on one car. Then Hess crashed another car yesterday. And that number 30 you see there was brought in during the night and went to work at 4 this morning to make it race ready.
The big question now, Ned, what about the caution? You know, that car stops, they're going to have to look at doing something.
Yep, but it's still rolling, and they gave him the 3-lap signal when Davey Allison came by the last time around. That car is still rolling. I believe that he might possibly get back. I don't know.
About 300 feet, the entrance to pit road. Caution comes out. Give it to Allison, second straight year. Still rolling. Car number 30.
I believe he's going to get out of harm's way. Now he pulls it completely down onto one of the service roads there. So he's pretty well out of harm's way. If it was farther back in the race, I think they would throw a caution.
2-lap indicator is on the field for Davey Allison as he wheels out of turn number 4. The man who sat on the pole looking for that $60,000 bonus has it just that much closer. Unical folks put up the money. They may have to use a little of that to get him home here on the victory lap. The issue is, will it be before that? You see them Got a gas can out there just in case.
And those fingers crossed and those prayers going.
What's it like when you get down at the end and you know you're right on the edge?
Well, I'll tell you, it is tough. It's, you know, you're praying, hey, please hang on, just give me enough to make one more lap. As it gets to that white flag this time around, all we like is 2 miles. They'd even get me back into turn 3. I believe I can coast the rest of the way.
It's bad enough to get beat by another car, but you don't want to get beat by your own car running out of fuel.
Down to 3 and 6/10 seconds as he eases back on the throttle just a little more. Eases back like 180 miles per hour in the back straightaway. After his 17th career win, Davey Allison, current Winston Cup point leader, where he's been ever since that great Daytona 500 run he had at the outset of the season. Here's Allison streaking around. Final moments. Coming down. Looking for that bonus. Looks like he's going to nail it. Here he comes out of turn number 4. And for the second straight year, the winner of the Michigan 400 is from the Alabama gang.
Morgan Shepherd has run out of gas.
Morgan Shepherd running out of gas as he comes to the line. Waltrip will come home in second spot. And going third will be Alan Kowicki when this one's over. It's Davey Allison's time to cheer. We'll be back with more. Meet him in Victory Lane in just a moment.
This CBS Sports Special, the Michigan 400, is sponsored by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Texaco, official sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
No other match. Here we are in Victory Lane, and it's a hectic place. And Bobby, Davey Allison, you look calm and cool. Was it a tough day?
I tell you, Chris, this Texaco Haviland Thunderbird, prepared by Larry McReynolds and Robert Yates and all the guys back at the shop, was so easy to drive today. You know, it's almost scary that the car was so fast, and we just kept trying to conserve fuel there at the end of the race. Wanted to take care of everything. And
how much did you have? How much fuel did you have?
Well, I'd be willing to bet there's only about a gallon or less left in there.
Okie-doke. Congratulations again, Mike Joy.
Well, Darrell's checking his due here. He says he hasn't been on TV in a while, and that's true. You had to race your guts out today for first in class here.
Yeah, I really did. You know, I thought, well, here comes Alan. Maybe if I can speed up a little bit, I could catch Davey. But something tells me that Davey was kind of on cruise control, and if we gained, he gained. And, you know, he just kept us back there. But he ran a great race. And my guys, the Western Auto guys, did a great job today, Jeff and Doug. And man, everybody was good today. It was a real good day, and the engine ran well, and I'm really pleased. Thank God for a good day.
Darrell picks up his best finish of the season so far, back upstairs.
A look at the final standings. Davey wins by 3 and 4/10 seconds. A thought from you, Neil, as we get the point standings up here. They look pretty good. Allison by 67 here over Elliott, and Kowicki still third by only 6 points, just 6 points behind Bill Elliott right now.
Well, I'll tell you this thing, when he gets this thing running, he's hard to beat.
Final standings here this afternoon. Davey comes home first. Waltrip comes home second. Kowicki had a great third spot out there today, Ned.
Just couldn't get by Darrell Waltrip there at the end.
Kyle Petty, grand race for fourth. And then it's Ricky Rudd finishing in fifth. The average speed on today's 152.672 miles per hour. 14 lead changes among 6 drivers today. 4 cautions for 13 laps. So for Ned Jarrett, Chris Economaki, Mike Joy, and Neil Bonnet, Ken Squire saying so long from the Michigan International Speedway, where Davey Allison has captured the 1992 Michigan 400. Sunday, CBS Sports coverage of Major League Baseball continues. Most of you will see the battle between 2 of the hottest teams in baseball. America's team, the Atlanta Braves, and the Cincinnati Reds, while others will see the New York Mets against the St. Louis Cardinals.